Big Jook was the older brother of Yo Gotti and part owner of CMG the label. Young Dolph and Big Jook have a deep history of disses dating all the way back to 2017. This was during the time when the tension between CMG and PRE was really heating up. In 2017, Young Dolph released the infamous diss track, Play With Yo Bitch. This track is a disrespectful shot at Yo Gotti, where Dolph claims to have had a relationship with the mother of his child. And on the track, referring to Yo Gotti as Ho Gotti numerous times, and even the artwork for the track is a savage take on the situation, roasting Yo Gotti. Big Jook is actually mentioned in the first verse of the track, where Dolph claims that Gotti would front on his big brother, going on to refer to Big Jook as Yo Gotti's big sister. But regardless of the beef between CMG and PRE, or True La Mafia and R, this track may well have caused Big Jook himself to have personal disdain for Young Dolph, adding to the weight and the rumours that it was actually Big Jook who may well have put out the hit on Young Dolph initially. In an Instagram story, Grove Hero, a comedian affiliated with Dolph's paper route empire, had actually claimed that Big Jook had put out a $40,000 bounty on either himself or possibly Young Dolph.
Heard that little boy Trey say, "Man, I miss my dad, Mom." When I heard that f***ed me up, bro. That f***ed me up. And keep in mind, I said, if I see Jook, if I see Gotti, if I see Migo, or if I see Youngster, I'ma get on that. It ain't got nothing to do with nobody else, bro. I said if I see them folk, because these folk had something to do with it, bro. These folk don't know that Jook put a hit out, bro. Don't know this, you know what I'm saying? But nah, f*** all that, bro. I need to say that. I ain't gonna say that. I ain't gonna tell the truth, bro. I ain't say, man, hey, bro, how you gonna feel if a told you, hey, man, look, bro, my Jook put a $40,000 hit on you, bro. Like, man, come on, bro.
Big Jook has also been pictured with one of the men accused in the plot to kill Dolph, Hernandez Govan, showing a clear affiliation between the two. Furthermore, Big Jook has shared multiple disrespectful videos to his Instagram aimed at Dolph even after his death, with one example being Jook mocking a mural that was painted to memorialize Dolph in Memphis.
I don't paint no bitch beside two real with a in the middle, man. Y'all don't do that, man. Don't f about legacy. So right here, y'all. Two gangsters.
Shortly after Dolph's death, Big Jook also posted to his Instagram story where he can be heard asking certain rappers to hit him up for financial help, saying, "Whoever trying to save their career or shoot a video while the label budget is cut off, we still open, CMG is still open." Jook offering to pay for rappers' studio time and any cars that the rappers are leasing and renting, as well as even advising these rappers to pawn their jewelry if it's real, was likely a shot at Paper Route Empire's remaining roster, suggesting that they might have been struggling after Dolph was murdered.
So, man, hey y'all, I'm finna start a GoFundMe, man, cause I know a lot of you rap up out here, man. Can't do no shows, ain't save no money. So guess what? I'ma come say today. I'ma come pay you rent if y'all got somewhere to stay. I'll pay your car note. I'll pay your jewelry note so you won't get repoed. You feel me? Whatever else you renting or leasing, I'm gonna pay this. But when it break back over, I want 10% of what you make. I'm saving you in a crucial time, so don't think I'm trying to get over on you. Cause you don't want to get put out. That'll ruin your career. So just hit my DM, man. We ain't gonna put business out there. We ain't that tight. You feel me? We can put it in contract. This will never be talked about. You feel me?
But then, on January the 13th, 2024, Big Jook and Yo Gotti had just attended a funeral service to honour their late uncle, Eric Bovan, who Jook himself actually described as a legendary Memphis kingpin, with Bovan allegedly running a large cocaine operation in Memphis in the 1980s. However, just after they gathered to lay one man to rest, sadly, moments later, another person would lose their life. At around 4:15 p.m, an officer was in the area of 6385 Winchester Road when he heard multiple gunshots outside the Perignon's restaurant and event centre. When the officer arrived at the scene, 2 victims were found with several gunshot wounds. Big Jook, real name Anthony Mims, was pronounced dead at the hospital, and a second male victim would be treated in a stable condition.
6:03 is the time, and this morning we continue following developing news out of Hickory Hill, where multiple sources tell Action News 5 that Memphis rapper Yo Gotti's older brother, Anthony Mims, also known as Big Jook, was shot and killed yesterday afternoon while attending a funeral. Memphis police will only say 1 victim died and that another was taken to Regional 1 in critical condition. The deadly ambush happened outside Paragon's an event center near Winchester and Ridgeway. A repast, a meal shared by loved ones after a funeral, was underway when it all happened. Deputy Police Chief Paul Wright says he does not believe this shooting was accidental.
There's no, this is preliminary, so we hadn't developed a connection to that at this time. We do feel like the individual that was shot was possibly targeted by the suspect.
However, there is no suspect information available at this time. Police say they are reviewing video from the scene. Again, sources telling us Anthony Big Jook Mims was shot and killed yesterday in Memphis. Police have not released a motive.
Footage from the scene would also circulate online, including Reddit, with captions saying, "People must still be sliding for Dolph."
Yeah, I sure see him on the land, laying down over there. Huh? Big Jook dead. Yeah, for real? Big Jook. Whoa. Yeah, I see him over there. It's a what is it, birthday? What is it, repast or a birthday party? Oh, they both ain't repaid. That's what they said. Hell no. Yeah, he finna clear the lot now. All right, bro.
If you do not disperse, you may be arrested.
It's finna get ugly, y'all. They killed Gotti's brother. Yeah, they killed Jook. Mine, did Winchester. What did Winchester what? Winchester.
And furthermore, just like what happened to young Dolph, a picture of the body of Big Jook after the murder would even circulate online, but it's far too graphic to show you on YouTube. Witnesses at the scene would claim to have seen multiple suspects in a white SUV, and an image of that car had even been released from CCTV surveillance footage, showing the vehicle driving around with its license plates removed. It was alleged that during the funeral, many attendees had noticed 3 men in all black sitting at the back. They apparently left early after they spotted Yo Gotti and Big Jook, with rumours circulating that when they spotted Jook at his car nearby, they had started spraying him with bullets. Rumours had also spread that Yo Gotti's mother might have been inside the car but managed to get away without being hit, but these reports have not been verified. Since the murder, PRE members have been active online mocking the death of Big Jook, further fueling the fire that the killers may have had a connection to Young Dolph and Paper Route Empire. PRE-affiliated comedian Grove Hero would also go on an Instagram Live talking in detail about how happy he was on this day after Big Jook was killed.
What's up with him? You straight, ain't it? Yeah, today a blessed day. Nah, go ahead, it's cool. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, today feel good in the mud. Feel so good outside. Hell yeah, up to man, it's nice today. Hell yeah. Man, I'm loving the breeze. It feels so good. Yeah. Damn, today feel good as hell. Whew. God damn. Man. Whoo. Boy. Today a lovely day, ain't it? Who watching, bro? What you talking about? I said, play crazy here. You know them people, who watching, bro? What you talking about? What is y'all talking about, bro? The Dolphins won today. Miami Dolphins won today. Show tell me about the Dolphins. Did the Dolphins win today? I'm trying to see. Did somebody tell me, is it the NFL championship or what? Did the Miami Dolphins win today? God damn, man. I ain't trying to tell nothing. Real talk, man. Man, let me enjoy this, man. I'm finna lay down, man. All right, real good.
And Reddit detectives would also soon circulate that the same white SUV had possibly been used in another shooting in the days leading up to Big Jook's murder, with one Chiracologist turned Memphistorian even claiming that the victim of the shooting had actually been the head of security at Yo Gotti's CMG. This was rumoured to have been a man named Marcus Lake, aka Bowleg, who had seemingly died on the very date that shooting took place. On his social media, Lake can be seen doing security for numerous Memphis artists, including CMG artist Glorilla, as well as promoting CMG members' shows. However, Leak's business partner would make an angry social media post following these rumours, stating that Leak died in his sleep and that nobody had murdered him. He would also highlight that they did security for many Memphis artists, and indeed Leak would also promote Paper Route Empire's events on his social media, amongst those for CMG.
No, but remember all the news that we broke on this channel. So I want this. This is just a rumor. So take this with a grain of salt. He was supposed to be doing security detail
for
everybody.
Whoever this, tag this bitch ass. Tell this bitch ass keep my brother name out of his motherfucking mouth, man. Yeah, he do security for every motherfucking batter, bro. He do security every motherfucking batter. We don't pick no motherfucking size, man. We ain't with that bull. What the wrong with you? Don't you know, all these motherfuckers we do security for Memphis, ain't no motherfucker gave my brother for his funeral. My brother died in peace, in his sleep. Ain't no motherfucker killed. He got a motherfucking ticket to heaven's door. The wrong with you, man? Find you some business, man. That's why you don't got no watches, man. Find you something else to do, man. Cause that ain't your job right there. That ain't the job. You're a lawyer, you up. You ain't no good lawyer. Keep my brother name out your bro. He rest in peace, man. We don't do that because if anything, Jook would have been alive, man. We protect him. Period. Because everybody respect us, not because we bad, we respect him. And we'll knock a ass down. Because somebody shot my brother, I'll be right now knocking every motherfucker down on both sides. This the motherfucker. Quit playing with me. Quit playing with us about our motherfucker brother. Keep your name, your mouth on shit that you don't know nothing about. That'll get your ass touched to Memphis too, man. Watch your motherfucker mouth.
One commenter seemingly close to the situation would also point out that Leak had passed away before that shooting had taken place. But with a shortage of verified updates about Big Jook's murder investigation, rumours and conspiracy theories have run rampant on the internet. In many of these theories, one name gets repeated frequently: Daddyo, the elusive and mysterious CEO of Young Dolph's Paper Route empire. Daddyo, real name Jeremy Moore, is listed as the legal director of Dolph's company, Paper Route Empire LLC, and Young Dolph and him had apparently known each other for a long time, with him actually explaining that he had met Young Dolph playing basketball when he was a child in an interview in Young Dolph's King documentary on WorldStar. He was allegedly the first person who had showed Young Dolph $1 million.
Each other, you know what I'm saying? So everybody like, bro, you need to, bro, wanna go make a song. I got the boo, I'm like, bro, make a song. They like, man, bro, you need to do that for real.
Many people consider Daddyo to have been the one who financed Paper Route Empire in the beginning, helping Dolph with his connections in the streets. And when Dolph was killed, rumours would circulate that Daddyo would actually be the one who would make sure that Dolph's death didn't go without revenge, and allegedly, the police were looking at him closely.
I keep hearing his name, Daddyo. I guess he's like another part of the CEO with Pre. It wasn't just Young Dolph. Yeah, Young Dolph was the main person, but it was another guy by the name of Daddyo. I was told he the guy that got all the respect. I was told that the police is looking at him as being one of the guys who's dropping hits and dropping calls on people out there in Memphis. I don't want to put the police on nobody. I don't want to do none of that shit through these videos, basically, so I hope that ain't how this coming out. I'm just giving you the reports that's surfacing. The police is looking at a guy named Daddyo. I was told he's one of the main people they looking at, not as far as killing Jook, but as far as being a leader, being a gang leader, having gang ties, being a kingpin, being somebody who could be next on the hit list, being somebody who, you know, the streets won't dare, and also being that guy who could be possibly be one of the guys who has enough respect and enough money that could be dropping bags out here getting people killed, you know. That's what I was told. That Daddyo is the top suspect that the Memphis police is looking at, not as far as killing Big Jook, but just being a part of all the in the background.
However, there have also been other kinds of conspiracy theories about Daddyo. For example, in old pictures, he can be seen together with Dolph and J Money, with some suggesting that Daddyo could also have connections to the Trulla Mafia, with some YouTubers speculating on possible motives Daddyo might have had to have gotten rid of Dolph.
We all heard that Daddyo was a millionaire before he met Dolph and this and that. People, moms and stuff, were scared of him because he was a big-time hustler, so he invested in young Dolph. When he invested in Dolph, to me, it seemed like Daddyo owned everything that Dolph had and obtained in his possession. When nobody knew where Dolph was at, all the times that he was allegedly shot at and shot, who else would know all his exact locations and time? No other than Daddyo, Key Glock, and those that are around him.
Ultimately, at this stage, it's unclear to say exactly who's responsible, but if there's one thing that's clear, the murder of young Dolph has created a tidal wave of violence that the authorities in Memphis are struggling to keep a lid on. The murder of Yo Gotti's brother Big Jook is just the latest in a long string of attacks, seemingly targeting anyone and everyone who might have been connected to Dolph's murder. After getting out of prison, notorious Rollin' 60s neighborhood Crip, Big U, would learn how to play hardball in the music industry from none other than Suge Knight. The infamous blood who had ruled the West Coast rap game with an iron fist was rumored to have used murder and extortion tactic to get ahead in the music biz. From his violent altercations in the lead up to the death of NWA's Eazy-E to the rumored incident where Vanilla Ice was allegedly dangled off a balcony and forced to sign over his lucrative royalties, eventually though, the law and his enemies would catch up with Suge Knight's hardline tactics and crack down on his operation. But by the time Suge Knight's downfall had begun, Big U was already in the game and decided to spread his wings and do his own thing. Apparently whilst inside prison, Big U, along with his right-hand man, Mark Martin, aka Bear Claw, founded an independent record label, Unique Music, in 1996. Big U would use the label to scout potential up-and-coming musical talent, and his deep street connections would lead him to the paths of some of LA's most legendary rappers. It turned out that Big U's nephew actually knew a young, talented Rollin' 60s rapper who went by the name Nipsey Hussle. Big U would begin to help Nipsey using his many industry contacts, ultimately landing him a major spotlight with a verse on Tupac's 2006 posthumous album, Pac's Life. Nip featured with Young Dre and Tupac himself on the song International, which gave Nipsey's career a massive boost.
Him and Big Draws put that together, and LT Hutton. They didn't really had a resume at that time to justify it, but he gave me a shot. And a lot of that was based on the relationship he had with Draws and Steve.
And I remember buying the physical CD, seeing Tupac featuring Nipsey Hussle on the back of it. That was huge for me.
Big U later reposted a clip from a Diverse Mentality documentary on Nipsey, along with a caption saying that it was an honor to give him the shot. Big U was playing a major role in Nipsey's come-up, leading Nipsey to drop his first real single and music video titled Bullets Ain't Got No Names in 2006. Nipsey would get support from Big U through the creation of an entire Bullets Ain't Got No Name full-length mixtape series, but story has it that Nipsey wanted to leave a bad deal that he'd got into with Big U's Unique label.
So I signed him to it. It was signed to a 10-year production contract, which started in 2009, which would end 2019.
Crazy.
Big U, on the other hand, has explained in the Drink Champs podcast that he stopped managing Nipsey after a promotional tour when police discovered drugs in one of their vehicles. And although someone would take the charges, Nipsey and others began acting differently towards Big U, which he interpreted as a breakdown in trust.
Radiator cap off, took the apart, stuck us in, I can't remember where we were for 3 days. They took the and scanned it from the router to the tutor, found what they wanted on it, put it back together, gave it to us. I flew back home. When I fly home, we get hit. I get hit at home. They had 21 people. They think they got him. Anyway, make a long story short, he ended up turning himself in, take the case off all of us. He get life, right, for the drugs. When that happened, my team is acting weird. So I'm looking at Steve, I'm looking at Nip, man, get a paperwork from Sony so they can see that we releasing all this. They acting weird. So, me, I'm still kind of like, hey, I'm hot, hot and heavy, but I'm like, I can't with y'all. So you never see me on the tour no more.
That's when the problem was
No problem never happened.
Okay.
We didn't have a problem.
Okay.
Wasn't nobody making no money.
Right.
But particularly after Big U's arrest, many have theorized that it may have been Big U who was using Nipsey's tours as a cover to smuggle drugs to different cities, and this was possibly making Nipsey nervous and looking for ways out.
I think Big U was using the tour bus, Nipsey's tour bus, to at least sometime or possibly do drug drop-offs, pick up money, and it was making Nipsey hot. He was seeing himself about to take off. He wanted no parts.
Whatever the case, after the two stopped working together, Big U wanted back some of his studio equipment so his son could also use them to record music, something which apparently angered Nipsey.
That's when they got upset, and he made the song. I don't rap,
that song never came out.
It did come out.
It did come out?
It did come out. It wasn't never pushed as a song, but it came out, and I mean, I don't rap, I scrap.
Disagreements would lead to Nipsey making a diss song about Big U, a song titled You Don't Got a Clue from his 2010 mixtape The Marathon, where Nipsey got some things off his chest, rapping how somebody, likely Big U, doesn't have a clue about what they want to do for Nip's career, saying that he's not going to stop for them and that he doesn't want somebody controlling him, rapping how he came up tough so he was never looking at Big U for a solution to his problems, and suggesting that his former team never really helped him push his career forward. Nip would rap F the middleman, and he would end his verse saying don't expect any favors from him because he wasn't given any favors. According to Loose Cannon, who's probably not the most reliable narrator, Big U would confront Nipsey about the track and challenge him to a fight where Nipsey would then supposedly move and dance around Big U so fast that he would leave him exhausted, almost like a scene from an old school action comedy.
And he was like, hey cuz, is this song about me? So Nipsey stood up or whatever and was like, yeah, cuz it's about you. So he was drinking some water out of a water bottle and he threw it on Nipsey, right? He was like, we're gonna have to go get down or whatever. So he thought Nipsey was gonna back down. Nipsey stood up and was like, okay, cuz, let's go get down. They were just dancing around or whatever like that. He was trying to get Nipsey or whatever, but Nipsey was just moving, dancing and stuff like that. And he couldn't hit Nipsey, so he got tired. So he knew he didn't get Nipsey the way he wanted to get Nipsey, right?
An unsatisfied Big U then allegedly got the whole gang involved, calling Nipsey up to get disciplined and allegedly beating him up before Black Sam fired into the air, stopping the fight, leading to police being called and breaking things up. Wack 100 would later claim that Big U actually knocked Nipsey Hussle out during their fight.
First time they first fall out, when they first got Nipsey signed, Nipsey come back, was a fallout. They went down, there was a fight, rumble happened. I believe Big U knocked Nipsey out. Black Sam comes out, fires 3-4 shots in the air. He's fresh out the penitentiary. Police sitting right across the street, they see it. They come in, they arrest everybody. Black Sam's on parole.
Now, there's some conflicting reasons circulating for this exact fight. It's been rumored that Nipsey Hussle has a daughter by a mother that was allegedly Big U's niece, or at least a close family friend. There was allegedly an incident circulating in a Reddit post where it was claimed that Nipsey actually beat up another man who had been dating his baby's mother after they split up, with Nip administering this beatdown because the man was apparently creating an unsafe environment for their daughter, with it being believed that the woman might have even got harmed herself in the scuffle, leading Big U to be furious at Nipsey. Ultimately though, Nipsey and Big U would eventually squash their beef and didn't have any more public animosity in the years that followed, but Nipsey's brother Black Sam seemingly always had an issue with Big U, and apparently this was reciprocated.
And then I'm gonna keep it 100. Me and his brother wasn't cool. Me and his brother weren't the best of friends. You gotta understand, like I'm gonna have friends that my mama ain't gonna like. I'm gonna have friends that my brother's not gonna like. You gonna have people that your people don't like. You know what I'm saying?
Nipsey's Rollin' 60s gang ties would be the ultimate liability throughout his career to the very end. A planned private performance in 2010 saw a massive bust on the Rollin' 60s members that he was affiliating with.
People under arrest after police raid a nightclub where dozens of members of an LA street gang were partying.
Police received information that gang members of the Rolling 60s, a violent South LA gang, would be holding a private party here at the Platinum Club here in Studio City. So they decided it would be a good time to do a gang sweep. Now take a look. It all went down around 2 in the morning. The Platinum Club was surrounded by dozens of officers. They arrested about 40 people they say are gang members of the gang Rolling 60s. Officers say they learned of the so-called hood party several days before the big event. Now outside of the club, the marquee had a sign there that said who was headlining the party. They are Nipsey Hussle and Dealmakers International. You can also see the number 6x10. Now, police say that was the secret Rolling 60s gang sign. An officer from North Hollywood was the first to approach the front door of the club, and he says that he was rushed by a group of people inside the club. He called for help, and officers from all areas responded immediately. Now, officers say this gang sweep will clearly cripple the illegal activities of the Rolling 60s gang, at least for a while.
As time went on, Nipsey would do more things that reportedly angered Big U, like bringing Treetop Pyru rapper YG to the Rolling 60s hood for the music video for the song Sitches Ain't Bit in 2011. Apparently Nipsey had to fight multiple Rolling 60s after this perceived violation, but this didn't stop his role, and later Nipsey would even return the favour, attending YG's hood to film the music video for I'm a Thug that featured Meek Mill. This was a video that ironically had footage of fellow Rolling 60 Brick Baby getting arrested. But anyway, as Nip's career grew, it seemed that Big U's stance towards Nipsey had softened, and he was showing him respect publicly, with Big U being seen doing a speech in Nipsey's honour in 2018 during an event for his Developing Options non-profit, where rap heavyweights like T.I. and Wiz Khalifa were also in attendance.
Look who came through.
Yeah, you know, I got my all black on, man. You know,
all black everything.
Steve Maniac, Lil Bill, day one right here, you know.
Big U, what up, baby?
Big U and Lil Bill. Sure.
You need that. Yeah, that's legendary.
Woo! Remember that. He did what no other rappers do today. He sold his own music. He sold his own music. So when I came along and Steve came along, we had a formula that merged with what he do, but he outworked any artist I've seen. I'm talking about business-wise. I'm not talking about on the mic. Because if you notice, this man is a more professional than 90% of the dudes who are trying to grow to his level. But I'm saying that to our young babies. To a T, he outworked a whole lot of people. And this is the reason why we are giving him the award, the Businessman Award, because he really exudes everything that you need to exercise in business. So let's give this man a hand and clap it up for him. I'm talking about, I came to his house and he lived in all places in A-Trade neighborhood and was really, he really had a mic in his closet and was recording his own self. Remember that.
And at one point, Big U would even Crip walk on stage, and Nipsey would in return honour Big U in his speech, saying how everybody in the hood saw him as a leader.
And see what that turned into, him putting pressure on us to just stay focused, you know, standing in front of us as young dudes from the area. And always, I remember he like, you know, it's not gonna be one room I walk into that my homeboys can't walk into with me. And I always respected and looked up to him as a leader and as somebody that was just a real man. And I love to see everybody out here tonight dressed up, looking good. No, I think we got to give him a round of applause as well. And like I said, I love you, bro. We're going to keep pushing. Day one. Thank y'all.
Nipsey was having massive success, culminating in the release of his critically acclaimed 2018 debut studio album, Victory Lap, where he would even shout out Big U, aka Big Draws.
And I'm eating breakfast.
My shirt drunk, yeah, all that. I've been working. You know, I ain't saved everything, man. Victory Lap coming soon.
He wasn't gonna save anyway.
I wasn't, but I was gonna change my shirt though. I'm going to, you know what I'm saying? But I'm working.
We will let y'all hear some music, but you gotta wait to pay for it. Ain't no free no more.
It's coming.
And you ain't downloading it, we're gonna put a tag. If you steal the music,
you up.
Coming to your house and putting that
car wash when you got your tent set up. We gonna beat your.
But in March 2019, Nipsey allegedly angered Big U once again by bringing DJ Khaled to the 60s hood and not asking permission. They were there to shoot a music video for Khaled's song Higher that featured Nipsey and John Legend. Allegedly, Big U sent Rolling 60s members to the shoot to cause trouble, causing Nipsey and Khaled to have to finish the shoot in a parking lot. TMZ, on the other hand, claimed from their sources at the video shoot that Nipsey had seemingly received threats on his life before the shoot had even taken place, and that he was apparently prepared with an exceptionally large security team. They would also claim that it was actually during the filming at the parking structure in Inglewood, where Nipsey's team were concerned about somebody in the local Bloods coming to kill him. Some people online would also claim that Big U was actually cool with Nipsey at this time, but it was really a bunch of younger Rolling 60s members that just wanted to rob DJ Khaled, causing trouble, with there also being reports of some friction between some Rolling 60s and Inglewood Blood members that might have caused some tension at the shoot. Nipsey's brother, Black Sam, would later seemingly confirm that someone had indeed pressed them at the video shoot, but wouldn't specify exactly who it was.
Not to get into too much detail, but there was a lot of big politics getting into it with certain people. You know, Hussle had DJ Khaled in the hood. Not to be speaking too much on it, but we came frontline like we always do. And, you know, we're gonna know we're gonna crash out behind it. We're not playing. Ain't nobody saying nothing to Khaled. Ain't nobody doing nothing to Khaled. And he's straight. And Hussle frontline that. And, you know, we felt like certain people didn't like that.
But whatever the case, only a few days later, Nipsey would tragically be gunned down in front of his Marathon clothing store in the Rolling 60s hood, less than a mile away from Big U's childhood stomping grounds on Arlington Avenue. Nipsey was gunned down by a man named Eric Holder, known in the streets because a fellow member of the Rolling 60s who was allegedly mad at Nipsey for accusing him of being a snitch. Eric Holder is also an old close friend of one of the other names mentioned in the new RICO case, the rapper and No Jumper host Brick Baby, real name Zaire Mitchell, another 60 that uses the moniker as a street name.
That day he got put on, we came up with the name. That was like a name that was really made for him. But he can't come in and be big. So being my big homie, that's, you know what I'm saying, that's big, and I'm little, you gonna be baby.
But anyway, following Nipsey's murder, different conspiracy theories would begin to spread about his death, suggesting that it might have been more than just a random argument with a low-level Rolling 60s member. One of these theories being that Big U had somehow been involved in the murder himself, particularly as he would seemingly tell different versions about where he had been the day of the murder, as well as having a motive due to the rumors that Nipsey had allegedly refused to re-sign a contract to be under Big U's label.
And for those who don't know, Big U is said to be responsible for the death of Nipsey Hussle. This is what a lot of people are saying, and it's because he keeps changing his story about the day that Nipsey Hussle died.
We actually was on 6th Ave with 100 cars. We got all the streets blocked. We waiting on UK to come out the house. Everybody phone blowing up. Nip got hit, Nip got hit. We flying up there. We fly up there and we see the scene.
And then like later on, he would forget he said that, and then he'd go on live on IG and say that he wasn't even in town the day that Nipsey died.
Y'all was accusing me of I ain't even do. It was funny. I wasn't even in town. So figure that one out. But I ain't gonna dress it.
And Nipsey Hussle was signed to Big U's record label, and that contract was due to be up, and Nipsey Hussle wasn't going to re-sign, so that provided motive, okay?
I signed him to it. It was signed to a 10-year production contract, which started in 2009, which would end 2019.
Crazy.
Big U reportedly also didn't attend Nipsey's funeral, and an IG Live sometime after the murder would appear to show Big U laughing when somebody commented justice for Nip, and going on to say that people are waiting for him to do an interview.
What you waiting on, though? You don't know what you waiting on, though. What you waiting on? You got to tell us what you waiting on. Damn, my mama broke you with a
Justice for Nip.
Hey, your boy would have been there like, yeah, you got it. Everybody that was showing this shit.
You did. You did.
However, the day after Nipsey was killed, Big U would post what seemed to be a heartfelt tribute to Nipsey, with a caption that said how hurt he was at the news, whilst also interestingly pointing out that the last time he spoke to Nipsey was 3 days ago at the DJ Khaled video shoot, something that no one really publicly knew at that time, with Big U saying in the caption that when they were at the video shoot together, they had spoken about building a school, which some have taken as Big U actually trolling, given the fact that it was rumored that a much more tense conversation had taken place at that shoot. Even back then, people were getting straight in the comments on Big U's post, saying that he was the one who set Nipsey up to get killed, and as time went on, Big U would post more tributes to Nipsey to his Instagram page, with yet more comments continuing to reference a possible setup and the DJ Khaled music video. Less than a week after Nipsey's murder, Big U took to Instagram to announce a peace march in the hood in Nipsey's memory.
Greetings to everybody. To get this message today, we are having a visual for Nipsey Hussle at 3 to 5 today for all the different gangs in LA that want to come out and support. Over the last 2 days, we have been having meetings amongst us, A-Trays, Rolling 60s, Hoovers, East Coasters, Bounty Hunters, and everybody of like mind to come together. We're going to ask that everybody come to Crenshaw and Slauson, be there by 3. We want everybody to park in the Rouse parking lot. We're going to be escorting everybody from the Ralph parking lot to the memorial. It's not open to the public. It's only for LA street gangs, Bloods, Crips with the like mind and want to support and pay homage to one of our lost soldiers, one of our good brothers and teachers and leaders. So it's open from 3 to 5.
And this indeed went ahead. Over a year after Nipsey was killed, Big U proudly showed off that he had met and recorded a podcast with DJ Khaled and Fat Joe, posting a video where he seemed to be very happy to be with DJ Khaled, specifically with Khaled returning the love and shouting out Big U.
That's right, love, Big U.
There you go. That's legend.
And clips were posted by Big U's label, Unique Music, with captions saying that they miss Nipsey. After Nipsey's death, there was a post on Unique Music's Instagram page claiming that Big U was the person who had introduced Nipsey to the world, but people in the comments would continue to claim that Big U was responsible for what happened, once again suggesting that Nipsey was set up by Big U for trying to leave him behind. After Nipsey's death, Big U posted Nipsey along with references to his Unique label numerous times, including one ominous post where he put up a video of Nipsey saying that he can't follow other people, they should be following him.
Blind can't lead the blind, bro.
Yes,
Somebody
sir.
gotta have a vision.
Yes, sir.
And you gotta follow who got the vision. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes,
if you
sir.
stuck on stupid, I ain't gonna judge you or have no disrespect for you, but I'm
gonna
definitely
be
not-
over here.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna follow you or take heed to your opinion. You're gonna have to follow what I'm doing.
I heard
and
that.
after a while, that way of thinking versus this way of thinking, more people lean toward this way because of the results.
And in the 2025 indictment, it was claimed that in a monitored conversation, Big U even suggested that he was the biggest Rollin 60 member ever, specifically saying that he was bigger than Nipsey Hussle. But despite the passing years, the rumors of Big U's involvement never went away, and people online would continue to speculate endlessly about potential conspiracy surrounding Nipsey's passing. Big U would comment on the rumors directly on numerous occasions, like in a 2022 No Jumper appearance, where he said that he was just associated with the murder of Nipsey because he's a very famous Rollin 60s member, and suggesting that he had a great relationship with Nipsey, and people are just spreading the rumor for money and clout.
Like how we was beefing when all his songs, every album he put out, since we had the so-called altercation, he shouted me out.
However, in 2024, Nipsey's brother Black Sam would do a podcast with Big Boy, alluding to someone being sent to kill Nipsey, rather than this just being an isolated crash out.
It as random as what the public thought it was. Like, Nip seen somebody, Eric, and talked, and
I mean, you know, he already got convicted, so for me, without going into too many details, so for me, he felt he was supposed to do a job, or somebody sent him or whatever. It just don't make no sense. It's not random, you know. It's gonna come to the light.
Loose Cannon, a former ally of Big U and one of the co-defendants in the upcoming case, actually revealed on No Jumper that Big U had told him Nipsey was dead before it even happened, with Loose Cannon saying that Big U had prior knowledge of Nipsey's death before it all went down, mentioning on the phone to him, which led him to call Nipsey Hussle moments before the shooting took place.
He FaceTimed me. So he FaceTimed me and stuff like that. He was like, Nipsey just got killed. I'm like, sick, so I didn't hear that. So I hang up with him. I called Nipsey and I'm like, Nipsey, what's up? He was like, oh, what's up with it?
Nipsey answered.
Nipsey answered. He answered the phone, and I was like, I love you, cuz, or whatever like that.
Did you tell him the call you just got, or you didn't even mention it?
I didn't mention it. And that's what fucked me up, because my cousin is Nipsey baby mama. You get what I'm saying? So it was like, I could have probably stopped it, or it had it.
Stop what? You mean that?
No, because listen, so after I talked to Nipsey and I was like, yeah, I love you, cuz, or whatever like that, I'll see you later or whatever. So I hung up the phone. I thought Big U gave wrong information. 30 minutes later, the homies blowing me up like they just killed Nipsey. And so I'm like,
Wait. You get a call from Big U telling you Nipsey just got killed.
Yeah.
You panic, called Nip. Nip answered the phone.
Yeah, and
you
we
like
were just talking on regular. So it's like at the end of the day, I didn't even think about it because
you don't even warn him that you got that call from dude.
No, because their relationship was so fucked up. It'd be like they be hot one minute, then they be cold the next minute, and then they be lukewarm. Like you
and
just
30 minutes after you get out the phone with Nip, he get killed.
Yeah, I got it.
So
all
you
on
think
the
he hit
TV
you
show.
a little too early?
This clip actually led to a cease and desist being served on No Jumper, and Adam22 being advised to remove the content from his channel.
So everybody knows I got a cease and desist about the Loose Cannon interview that I did with Whack 100, and a cease and desist showed up from the one and only. Never thought my life would go in this direction. Never thought I would be getting a legal notice from the big man himself.
Oh,
Big
yeah, I just seen
U.
Big U said he ain't feeling that
Big
shit.
Lucifer.
Big
Is that a diss? I think that's a whack term. I don't want to say that. So from our perspective, we have decided to back away from this. This is not a narrative that I was really interested in pushing in the first place. The idea that Big U had any sort of, criminal doings in his adult life, or that, that he was involved with anything with Nipsey. This is not something I ever really bought in on. It was kind of a surprise to me that it got trotted out on the podcast. I don't have to make this kind of statement about why we decided to remove it or whatever, but I did ultimately make the decision to take it down.
Interestingly though, when the 2025 criminal complaint dropped, it would turn out that Loose Cannon wasn't just anybody claiming Big U's involvement, but he was in fact an alleged former enforcer for Big U, conducting robberies on his behalf as part of an extortion racket later described by the criminal complaint as Big U Enterprises. But even more crazy, even before the criminal complaint revealed these bombshell allegations, Loose Cannon would openly tell stories about these robberies that he did for Big U on the No Jumper podcast for the whole world to hear. If you watched my recent video, King Von, Rap's First Serial Killer, then you'll already know about the dark past of Chicago rapper King Von. But in case you didn't, let me get you up to speed. King Von is a rapper hailing from Chicago, more specifically, the Parkway Gardens housing projects, better known as O Block. This housing development is famous for its association with the pioneer of Chicago drill music, Chief Keef, the teenage rap phenomenon who brought Chicago drill music to the mainstream of rap. With his raps all about the violent gang wars playing out in Chicago, giving many all over the world their first look at gang life in America's most dangerous city. But back in 2012, when Chief Keef was making music all about the gang wars in his city, King Von was really living those lyrics. Von was a prominent member of the Black Disciples street gang, specifically the set hailing from O Block, who were engaged in a bitter war with their rivals, a group of gangster disciples from 63rd. In my previous video about King Von, I reviewed King Von's rumoured involvement in as many as 7 gang-related murders between 2012 and 2014, and I made the argument that he is in fact a serial killer by FBI's own definition of the term, due to the fact that he appeared to claim responsibility for more than 3 murders with more than a month's time span between them. But it wasn't just that I believe made Von a serial killer, it's the fact that even after beating a murder charge in 2017, he would be released from jail, at which point he would partner with his childhood friend and prominent Chicago drill rapper Lil Durk, launching his very own rap career, not only using his music to boast about and drop clues concerning the at least 7 murders he was associated with, but he would allegedly use the money he made rapping about these murders to continue to have people killed, with Von taking a great deal of personal gratification from being known all over the world for getting away with this series of gruesome murders. And with his jaw-dropping raps all about specific murders that he had been associated with over the years, rap and true crime fans all over the world flocked to Von's music, with intense debate taking place over whether or not he truly was the multiple murderer he claimed to be in his songs. Over the course of 2019 and 2020, King Von would release a string of well-received songs that made him an infamous figure in the rap world, most notably his Crazy Story series of songs where he used lyrics to tell a vivid story of life in the streets, all about his attempts to rob people, getting in shootouts, and using women to set up his ops to get killed. One of Von's biggest career moments came in 2020, when he released his song Took Her to the O. This storytelling song painted a picture of Von using a woman to set up and kill real-life rival rapper of his, FBG Duck. The music video would even depict Von shooting FBG Duck and leaving him dead on the ground. Then, in an eerie turn of events, the real-life FBG Duck would be shot dead in the middle of a busy Chicago street by a gang of masked men only months after this video was released. Took Her to the O would become one of King Von's biggest hits, sitting in a catalogue of other big songs and features with millions of views and streams. By mid-2020, King Von was a multi-millionaire rapper with a bright future and one of the biggest buzzes in the rap game. But behind the scenes, there was seemingly tension brewing between him and YoungBoy, who at the time, in mid-2020, was the undisputed king of street rap, having dropped a string of chart-topping projects. Now, it's unclear exactly where the beef between Von and YoungBoy's crew started, but it likely all had something to do with Von's friend and mentor, Chicago rapper Lil Durk. Lil Durk and YoungBoy actually collaborated on a November 2017 track called My Side, and it's believed that Lil Durk had even tried to sign YoungBoy back in 2017, with this being revealed on the intro to YoungBoy's song GG on AI YoungBoy, where he raps, "Tell OTF I do not sign, NBA, That Be My Gang. As we now know, YoungBoy went on to sign a lucrative multi-million-dollar deal with Atlantic. Ultimately, signing to Lil Durk, let's face it, in 2017 would not have been a great career move. At that point, while he was a respected artist in the streets of Chicago, Lil Durk's biggest career achievement was his 2015 Remember My Name album, which peaked at 14 on the Billboard Albums chart. Lil Durk had never had a song on the charts at this point, and by the end of 2017, YoungBoy had surpassed Durk's chart record with 3 songs on the Billboard Hot 100 and 3 projects on Billboard's 200 albums charts. In many ways, YoungBoy dodged a bullet by not signing with Durk and quickly surpassed him in every way. Lil Durk's career was essentially floundering until King Von came out of jail and re-energized him. Durk's only song on Billboard before 2020 was an appearance on a 2018 Lil Baby and Gunna track off White V-Lone. But by the end of 2019, Lil Durk had had 7 projects land on the Billboard 200 albums charts. But in the time since turning Durk's offer down, YoungBoy had amassed 17 songs charting on the Billboard Hot 100 and 13 projects charting on Billboard's 200 albums chart. While YoungBoy had seemingly turned down the chance to align himself with Durk and his OTF collective, he had built up a legacy in his own right, and at this point, there was seemingly no beef with them. In 2018, Lil Durk would be seen popping up in an IG Live with YoungBoy where things seemed cool between them. Also in 2018, Lil Durk would continue his hunt for other up-and-coming street rappers to align himself with and potentially sign to his label. Another up-and-comer that Lil Durk discovered early was Savannah street superstar Quando Rondo, who after blowing up with his track I Remember, featuring Atlanta legend and close friend of Lil Durk's, Lil Baby, would go on to collaborate with Durk on the song Other Side, which appeared on Quando's first commercial mixtape, Life Before Fame. In fact, Quando and his team were clearly big fans of Durk, with Quando's cousin and close friend Lil Pab tweeting his love of Lil Durk's song This Ain't What You Want way back in 2013, saying that this song is better than everything. After the success of his first major single and mixtape, the rap industry was buzzing around Quando Rondo, and there would be intense competition between labels trying to sign him. But he would eventually catch the attention of fellow singing gangster rapper YoungBoy, who commented on his video asking Quando for his number.
And he commented under the video and wanted my number and stuff.
YoungBoy and Quando would connect and hit it off behind the scenes, and in June 2018, Quando would officially sign to YoungBoy's label, Never Broke Again, announcing it to Instagram with a post, attracting congratulatory replies from NBA heavy hitters. And days later, Quando would be seen on stage with YoungBoy and the NBA crew, where he received his NBA chain from OG3 and throws up Rollin' 60 Crip gang signs for the crowd.
Never broke again, too.
Yeah. Stop playing like game now. On the count of 3, everybody say NBA never broke again. 1, 2, 3. NBA never broke again! Neighborhood, I appreciate that, man, bro. He say neighborhood, neighborhood. Bet! Put that on right quick, you know neighborhood.
Hey, say 3. What up? Make sure you bang on them before you walk off the stage.
Oh, I got him finna bang on him. You mind if I wild out right quick though? Bang on one more time for. Hold on, I gotta get this on camera. Everybody gotta scream neighborhood one time. Yo, what? On the count of 3, everybody scream neighborhood. 1, 2, 3.
Eventually, Quando ends up appearing on 3 of 4 tracks on YoungBoy's 4-track 4 Loyalty EP. However, once again, despite how things played out, it didn't seem from the outset that there was any kind of tension between Durk, YoungBoy, and Quando. Durk would even name Quando as one of the artists he was spending a lot of time in the studio with in a 2018 XXL interview. Funnily enough, Quando also shouted out Lil Durk in 2 tracks on his 2019 mixtape From the Neighborhood to the Stage, rapping in Dope Boy Dreams that he signed to the streets 3 times, he feels like Durk, referencing Lil Durk's Signed to the Streets mixtape series, and rapping on the song My Section that Durk had told him to treat the rap game like the drug game. Perhaps an indication that Durk had been giving Quando advice on how to navigate the industry before he signed to NBA. At the end of March 2019, Quando would actually be seen backstage with Lil Durk's newest artist, King Von, wearing a matching outfit and hyping King Von up by dissing his ops from 63rd in Chicago.
I'm saying though, 63rd, dirty. I'm talking about. Hey, listen, no man, 64, man, y'all 63 over there smoking crack.
In August 2019, Lil Durk puts out a list of his 50 greatest rappers, and both YoungBoy and Quando Rondo are on that list. Durk would caption that image saying that these rappers are people that changed the culture. And I would argue in many ways that Lil Durk was clearly inspired by Quando and YoungBoy's style of gangster pain music. And arguably, Durk's career revival in 2019 and 2020 was helped massively by the popularity of the type of auto-tuned gangster rap singing that YoungBoy was most known for. Durk and Quando would seemingly remain friends into the start of 2020, with Durk even appearing on Quando's song Safest, even shouting him out as one of his favourite rappers. However, it would seem that somewhere in 2020, things would change, and that would all have something to do with King Von. Despite playing nice backstage with Quando in March 2019, a month before, King Von appeared to diss YoungBoy in front of a fan on IG Live.
You for YoungBoy? Why? Just damn. Man, hang up, man. But if like you cheat, go ahead and say you I'm gonna hang up with your ass. Don't, I just left.
Yeah,
He cool, right?
So I can't speak.
He ain't all that, you know.
What's up? What you trying to say? Like,
I'm just trying to see what you feel about the nigga. He cool.
He's straight. He's straight. He ain't better than you. He ain't better than you.
Yeah, for sure. Cause he don't be doing it. I ain't gonna do it. Cause he hey.
Von would continue to disrespect YoungBoy publicly following this, a month later, in March taking to social media to say that YoungBoy's music is full of lies, and that he's not a real gangster like he says he is in his music.
YoungBoy talking about on this song, bro.
What?
He talking crazy on this man.
Oh yeah?
He ain't even like that.
Oh!
On this cap. You got cap in your raps.
Go straight, boss. Don't hit the white lady.
You got cap in your raps.
Now, this is interesting because it says to me that perhaps Von's problem with YoungBoy is that he felt he wasn't worthy of his reputation. We've already discussed YoungBoy's numerous lyrics over the years where he appears to infer that he's killed over 7 people. However, this supposed body count has been heavily doubted and debated, with it really being believed that when YoungBoy says he has bodies, he's really referring to the many people around him who have lost their lives over the years. Or at a push, that YoungBoy is perhaps responsible for these killings through either paying assassins to kill for him, or simply the fact that these people end up getting killed when they try and beef with him. The idea that YoungBoy has 7 or more bodies is ambiguous and shrouded in mystery and misdirection. However, when it comes to King Von, the situation is the complete opposite. King Von has rapped repeatedly that he has 7 bodies, and in my video, King Von Raps First Serial Killer, you can quite easily line up King Von's lyrics and tweets with real reported murders in Chicago, along with his own arrest records, to make a very compelling case that Von did indeed personally murder at least 7 people. Von was a killer, and he wanted everyone in the rap industry to know it. And perhaps he was upset at the idea that a man much younger and richer and more successful than him could reach the very top of the gangster rap game without demonstrating that he is truly capable of committing murder firsthand, with Von seemingly deciding that the fastest way to the top of the rap game would be to punk YoungBoy and expose him as a fake killer, proving to the rap game and the world at large that Von had personally committed the murders like he rapped about, unlike YoungBoy, and therefore Von felt he was more worthy of the top spot than YoungBoy. But initially this beef was just petty sneak disses being sent from Von. When YoungBoy was released from jail in August 2019 after he got caught up in the Trump Hotel shooting that violated his probation, Von would welcome him home with a snarky tweet that ended calling him ugly. And over the course of the next year, Von would even be seen copying YoungBoy's mannerisms and beginning to quote him during his Instagram lives.
Boy, as my grandma raised me, you hear me? You know I ain't. What up?
My grandma raised me. You know I ain't no.
Whether there was any real beef between OTF and NBA at the time is unclear, but the two crews were clearly competitive. In October 2019, when DJ Akademiks would claim that YoungBoy was the realest street rapper to appear since the original Chicago drill scene, Durk would comment on the post, proposing that King Von was even realer than YoungBoy. Some months later, in February 2020, Von seemed to indicate on Twitter that he and YoungBoy had a song together, telling YoungBoy that he should drop it and stop holding the song so close to his chest. At some point following this, Von would even be seen on an IG Live suggesting that he likes YoungBoy and that YoungBoy probably has too much going on with his case to reply to him.
I fuck with NBA YoungBoy too. They just got a lot of going on. You just can't be fucking nobody when they got all this going on. You trying to get rich, they trying to, I don't know what they got going on.
It's unclear exactly where this beef between Von and YoungBoy and Quando really started, but two people would seemingly play a major role in the feud escalating. YoungBoy's ex-girlfriend and the mother to his fourth child, Jana, and King Von's ex-girlfriend, female rapper Asian Doll. The relationship between Von and Asian would be revealed to the world in an interview with Lil Durk in early 2019.
King Von, I'm saying he in a relationship too.
Shout out Asian Doll.
Okay. Yeah, he go ahead, yeah.
You heard it here, man. He looking at you like, come on, man.
So to they
Von appeared to fall deeply in love with Asian Doll. Combine this with his reputation as a prolific killer in the Chicago gang war, and you have a recipe for disaster. Von would tweet saying that he would be willing to beat anyone up who messed with Asian Doll, and he apparently beat a man senseless for calling her a bitch in the studio.
Asian the reason my hair like this. Somebody called my girlfriend a bitch yesterday. And you ain't gonna smack one of them out his. Tell him what happened to my hand, bro.
Folks overbeat his.
Call my girlfriend.
Woke her back up. I was looking for a try. They walk by, bro. See, he already left. Where you go?
That was quick. Everybody do that. I'm doing like y'all finna overdo it. I'm not
that shit, man. It's already, he already did, man. Hold up, already told him. He got blood everywhere, man. He finna get blood on.
Asian would appreciate Von's protection, calling him her bodyguard on Twitter, with Von himself saying that he wishes she wasn't a rapper so that he could keep her at home and protect her, saying that he doesn't trust her around other rappers.
But isn't it nice to have somebody in the same industry as you?
No, that ain't. I'd rather have. I wish you. I can't say I wish she wasn't a rapper, nothing like that. But it'd be better if I knew that she's at the house instead of going around all these people that ain't around and damn, what's going on? Now I'm just thinking, damn, what you doing? Why she answering the phone?
And that's how she be feeling.
She feel the same. I just said that.
No, I understand. That's what I'm saying. Like,
I wish my was at the damn house.
Yeah.
Also, it's been times where you didn't like it, she had to work with her.
I'm not gonna say nothing because you gotta be.
Feel like y'all gotta
be for sure with yourself, man. I know I'm that. So
Von was clearly very possessive about Asian Doll, even tweeting that he would kill somebody for messing with her. However, things would eventually get complicated between Von and Asian, and during the summer of 2020, their relationship appeared to go through an on and off stage, where Von would sometimes indicate on social media that the couple had broken up, while at other times they seemed to be back together. Von was apparently a single man again, and after his high-profile relationship with fellow industry rapper and social media star Asian Doll, he would be looking to get into a new entanglement that might grab some headlines. But his next move would be incredibly bold, and seemingly out of nowhere, Von would make a declaration of war against YoungBoy. In mid-August, Von would post a cryptic tweet saying that he had just made a hit song with a female that people won't believe, and that it was going to be crazy. That very same day, images would surface online showing Von spending private time with none other than Jana, the mother of YoungBoy's fourth child. And later, speculation would begin to swirl off the back of tweets made by Von and his sister Kayla that Von and Jana might have even created a sex tape during their time together. And these rumors would later be strengthened by leaked DMs from an alleged inside source who claimed that Von and Jana had indeed slept together, not recorded music. Rumors that Von would later seemingly confirm in the song Rose Gold with PNB Rock, where he seems to suggest that somebody's baby mother was bad in bed. However, Jana would deny the rumors, saying that they had in fact just made music together so that she can make money for her son.
We walked to the table to play the little game after my studio session, and I went home. That's it. Y'all trying to make stories out of nothing. I don't that man. Like I said, I don't with no. I've been working. We have a song coming out. Y'all wasn't supposed to know, but it is what it is now. We have a song coming out. So when the song come out, y'all go with it. Just know it's hard as you feel me. I'm just trying to get my money to take care of my son. Period.
Her claims would also be supported by leaked DMs, this time from Von, who alleged that he was just trying to make Asian Doll mad and jealous. However, Asian Doll would then challenge Jana's claims, claiming that she had actually seen romantic DMs between Von and Jana.
Now, I've seen that in them DMs. I've been seeing. None of this not a surprise. So all that song.
Whatever the truth may be, this certainly wasn't the first time that Jania had been rumoured to have had relations with YoungBoy's enemies, as she had previously been connected to both Fredo Bang and Jay the Young'un. Furthermore, leaked DMs from YoungBoy's future wife Jaslyn would seem to suggest that YoungBoy was still hooking up with Jania while she was running around with Von. Nevertheless, despite YoungBoy's relationship with Jania officially being over at this point, he took this rumoured hookup between Von and Jania as a very personal attack from Von. And the following day, YoungBoy would respond, posting a picture of him and his son holding stacks of cash, along with a caption saying that since Von likes to troll so much, he's going to make sure that when his son grows up, he smashes Von's daughter. Now, around the same time, for reasons that are still largely unknown, Von's childhood friend and fellow Chirac savage Lil Reese decided to join the beef by tweeting his intentions to beat up YoungBoy's artist Quando Rondo, to which Quando would reply saying that Reese won't do anything.
Man, ain't gonna do nothing to me. No academics. Man, you don't deserve to live no more bit, bro. I hope you on God.
At this point, seemingly out of nowhere, suddenly YoungBoy and Quando were beefing with Lil Durk, King Von, and Lil Reese, three of the most famous and respected rappers ever to come out of Chicago. War had now been declared, and things were about to escalate. That same day, YoungBoy would also go live while playing an unreleased song. This song would later turn out to be the murder anthem, Dead Trollz, with YoungBoy addressing Von, saying that he wants to see him, and saying that he shouldn't come fishing around his lake, which kind of suggests that Von used the pictures with Jania to bait YoungBoy into beefing him. In the next lyric, YoungBoy makes the wild claim to have 7 bodies in his hometown, just like Von was rumoured to have 7 bodies in Chicago, before then going on to threaten to shoot somebody from out of town as soon as they land, and seemingly dissing Jania for messing with his ops for money. YoungBoy would also rap that his ops are mad that they can't get a feature from him, perhaps a hint to a potentially uncleared collaboration between the two artists being held back by YoungBoy, as one of Von's earlier tweets seemed to suggest. And in the song's outro, YoungBoy makes an interesting reference to the Chicago basketball legend D Rose, who had a phenomenal start to his career in his hometown team Chicago Bulls, but later went through difficult times in other cities and teams due to injuries. A possible reference to the fact that Lil Durk and Von had moved out of Chicago to Atlanta at this point in their careers, as well as the fact that they famously were friends with another gang member from Chicago who went by the nickname D Rose. Now, fans' reaction to this song was mixed, with some arguing that it was dedicated to the numerous other enemies that YoungBoy had made in the rap game and the streets over the years, while others would argue that the entire song was all about King Von. Some would even later claim that the song had actually predicted King Von's death, as YoungBoy raps about planning on killing someone in Atlanta, while also claiming that he will do it after their show where their next one is at. And while that certainly seems far-fetched and more like a creepy coincidence, what isn't a coincidence is the fact that YoungBoy decided to drop this snippet right after Von had been seen photographed with the mother of his child. A day later, Von tweets claiming not to have a girlfriend and to be focusing on his career, but it seems that Von had paid attention to YoungBoy, because just a few days after the snippet of Dead Trollz hit the internet, Von would drop a snippet of his own, a track titled Too Real, a song where he raps that he will expose someone and that he's going to kill someone because of a rap beef. About a month later in September, Von would address the beef with YoungBoy during an IG live, saying that he doesn't want beef over insignificant things and with people from other states, but if he gets the feeling that someone doesn't like him, he really doesn't even need a reason to escalate things.
Look, for everybody, I ain't into it, nobody, you hear me? Towards the people I've been having in the streets, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be a tour with nobody from all in another town. No reason, like you gotta be a tour with somebody for a reason. Just know we in tour, gang, okay? Nah, you see what I'm saying? I'm the type, I don't gotta know why we in tour or nothing. You only gotta tell me why you don't like me. Don't even tell me why you don't like me. I don't even care. Just let me know you don't like me. You see what I'm saying? Let me know how you don't like me. If that's what it is. Let me know. I'm like, alright, you know what I'm saying? Let me know. But I'm so gangster that I don't need a reason. It don't gotta be no reason. We can be into it. Like, I don't care. It don't gotta be a reason, for real. I'm into it, people. It don't gotta be no reason. I don't know why. I don't care why. But it can be that, you see what I'm saying? But I like to know why we into it. I like to, I need to, because I ain't no goofy. Like, what the then I play hard. I ain't trying to lose. I can't lose to nobody. Lose to who? Who, Lloyd? Who I'ma lose to? Tell him, you been knowing me, Lloyd. Don't I go hard at everything I do? Tell him, you came from, how you get a chain in your neck, Lloyd?
You know how.
Later in September, after having recently reiterated that he wasn't looking for relationships but was open for something more casual, Von and his sister Kayla were spotted at a club with Jana again, and with Kayla even posting their night on social media, calling Jana her sis. This would prompt Asian Doll to respond to the situation between her and Von during an IG Live in October, where she would deny that Von had embarrassed her by messing with Jana and saying that if Von is single, his actions have nothing to do with her.
Nobody embarrassed me, gang. Y'all need to get off my shit. Like, nobody embarrassed me. Nobody. It's nothing nobody did to embarrass me. I was not embarrassed. Y'all mad about a tweet. Like, y'all, like, dude don't even know you clowns. The y'all hoes get left for me. Smack one of you bitches for me. You crazy, bitch. I don't get no. I'm a real bitch at the end of the day. Like I said, you would never see me sweat. You would never see me go outside behind nobody. I don't give a who you is, friend, anybody. Mind your business. When I'm single, like, they don't have nothing to do with me. I'm not stressing that. I'm not tweeting nothing. They don't have to do with me, gang. Nothing. When somebody's single, so what? What they do? I don't give no fuck. That's what y'all problem.
However, not much long after, Von would go live with Asian, and the two appeared to be on friendly terms. This was a confusing situation, but perhaps in the words of the great Juicy J, these hoes were for everybody. And in October, King Von would release a song speaking on the situation in the same sentiment. Von would begin to promote his new song called Mine Too, where Von essentially raps, "I ain't finna beef about girls with someone, because their girl is mine too." Clearly he's talking about Jana here, and he appeared to throw direct shots at YoungBoy on the song too, rapping about having beef in NOLA, or Louisiana, where YoungBoy is from, and saying that somebody acts gangster on the mic, but now Von wants to see if he is really gangster in real life. Ironically though, a day after this song came out, Von would also tweet that once someone has slept with his girl, he doesn't want her anymore, because as it turned out, YoungBoy may have given Von a taste of his own medicine by hooking up with Asian Doll around this time. In October 2020, after the rumoured breakup with Von, Asian Doll tweets saying that she only dates killers with 3 bodies or more. Now, considering the fact that YoungBoy had just released his King Von diss song, Dead Trollz, where he rapped that he was responsible for 7 murders in his hometown, YoungBoy would seemingly meet the 3 murder requirement to date Asian Doll. And leaked DMs from YoungBoy's camp would later seemingly suggest that Asian and YoungBoy had indeed hooked up, and Asian Doll would even seem to admit the affair in her song No Exposing. YoungBoy's producer would further feed the rumour mill by posting screenshots of messages that YoungBoy had allegedly sent him from Asian Doll's Instagram account. Things were getting petty, and now YoungBoy was proving that the sentiment behind King Von's song Mine Too was true both ways. But things would only get more and more personal as the days went on. On November the 4th, 2020, only days before King Von would end up losing his life, YoungBoy posted a snippet of a new song that he apparently made with Asian Doll, a song with the ominous working title, Meet the Reaper. Von would quickly respond by tweeting that the song is trash, and he would continue with an all-day tweet storm, during which he would once again allude and joke about a sex tape existing between him and Jana, and claiming that he is actually happy for Asian Doll, but that the song is still trash, before rehashing a lyric from his song Mine Too, once again indicating that Asian is still his girl too. This all went down on November the 4th, 2020, about a day before he would lose his life. Von was incredibly active on Twitter this day, and he would continue throwing shots at YoungBoy, tweeting that rappers are and that he's not one of them, and he would warn people to approach him with caution, and saying that his ops are acting gangster, but that's not what they're really like, whilst also trying to convince his audience, and perhaps himself, that his feelings weren't hurt and he was simply providing entertainment, with Von eventually saying in another deleted tweet that he's going to lead by example because he's older than YoungBoy, and saying that he's quitting the beef because many wars have started over a woman and that he's not beefing YoungBoy. He said that they're sharing the same women and these women don't even matter and aren't all that. And then, in the very last recorded interview before his death, King Von told DJ Akademiks that there was no real beef between him and YoungBoy, saying that they just had the same girl and claiming that things were just being exaggerated by people on the internet.
People told me you and YoungBoy was beefing or something like that. You said something about yo, what happened, Von? What's going on with you, man?
They be saying that a lot. It's like we got the same interests, and then you know how the internet will try to make it.
Don't tell me I got problems over girls.
No, it's the internet, gang. It's the you know, they'll try to make it like that because it's the internet. You see what I'm saying? And then you know how females will try to make it like that because they females, and they'll try to make it like one more hard and try to. It be just all type, but it ain't nothing too serious, nothing you should worry about.
Unfortunately for Von, things would be very serious indeed, and the very night after that interview, Von himself would escalate things out of his own control, and ultimately wound up getting more than he bargained for. Just after midnight on the 5th of November 2020, Von tweets his location for the evening, a show at Atlanta club Opium. Von would go live on Instagram on the way to the club in good spirits, rapping along to his own music. He would go live pre-show with the name of the club pinned, and he would be seen on Instagram posted up smoking hookah with his entourage of O-Block natives. He went on to play that concert at Opium, where he would be seen jamming out on stage at the club. Just after 1 AM, Von retweeted a Young and Ace lyric with a caption saying his crew are going to catch someone and he sees them as food. While Von is performing at Opium, Quando Rondo and his entourage are fresh off recording a new music video for a song called The Drop, being seen after that shoot on social media, showing off an array of high-powered weapons that they're holding. After finishing his show, Von would be seen leaving Opium in an SUV, and interestingly, the truck can be heard playing the YoungBoy song My Window as it drove away.
A lot of cars behind him. Stop playing!
For some reason, Von would confuse his team by choosing not to go back to his Airbnb as his security crew originally thought, instead taking a last-minute and unexplained detour to the Monaco Hookah Lounge, where Quando Rondo was hanging out with his crew, with Von's manager 100K Track telling DJ Vlad that his team were blindsided by the change in plan.
He went over there to the after party, and then his driver and his homeboy let us know that we was redirected. We're thinking we're gonna go to the Airbnb or the hotel.
At around 3 AM that night, Von would find himself outside the Monaco Hookah Lounge, where according to 100K Track, the team would wait for almost 40 minutes in their cars, confused as to why they were there. Von himself seems to have spent that time on Twitter, where he would post his last tweet, ominously mentioning how he murders any beat he gets on. Then, only minutes after this tweet, Von would exit his car and walk across the parking lot, where he would run into Quando Rondo and immediately begun attacking him with heavy punches and no warning, sparking chaos in the large crowd around them. Unfortunately, what Von didn't know was that Quando Rondo's good friend Lil Tim was seemingly ready for the action, and he would quickly approach the two with his gun ready, letting off shots and hitting Von a total of 5 times. From there, things would quickly escalate. Von's friends from O-Block, Slutty, BJ and Louie immediately got their guns out and began to return fire to Lil Tim, leaving Tim wounded but alive on the ground, as Slutty's gun appears to jam right when he's standing over Lil Tim about to execute him. While chaos is ensuing all around them, Von is seemingly wrestling with Quando on the ground, perhaps instinctively grabbing onto him whilst holding onto his life, until King Von's friend Muwop approaches the two and separating them by striking Quando once with a large punch. Meanwhile, Von's other friends Slutty, BJ and Louie attempt to flee the scene after taking part in the shootout and almost killing Lil Tim, without realizing that they were running directly towards police officers who open fire, believing that their lives are in danger too. This killed Slutty and left Louie in critical condition with a headshot wound, and BJ was shot in the leg. BJ would actually later comment on the events of that night on social media, questioning if others would have had the courage to shoot someone with police all around them, and saying that the police should have shot him in the head as well. But while the cops are having a shootout with other O-Block members, Muwop and other O-Block associates would drag King Von's limp body to a waiting car, rushing him to hospital. But what's even more crazy is that Quando would also take a wounded Lil Tim to the very same hospital that King Von and his team were at, with Quando going live showing him trying to help Tim into the hospital and get assistance from the staff.
Come on, he's shot. Come on, bit bro, you got thug. Come on, cuz, just keep breathing, bit bro. Just keep breathing, cuz.
Hold on, you can't move him that fast.
You got it,
bro.
my fault.
Yeah.
Ma'am, he's shot. What you mean wrong side? Come on, man, please. Come on, all right.
Okay.
Get him a wheelchair. Man, what you mean I gotta stay right here? Man, we need to get him. Man, we need to get him back there ASAP.
I'm calling.
I put man.
In front of the exit. Sit down so he won't fall out, okay?
Ma'am, how? He done been shot before.
Okay, sir.
Man, we need a wheelchair.
I just called. I can't do more than what I can do.
How we get there, man? We need help. Hold on, man, get him a wheelchair, man. What we doing? What y'all doing, cuz? Man, what you mean? Man, we can't take him around there. That man gonna die.
Close friend of Von and Dirk, THF Bezu, later posted saying that they saw Quando at the hospital and that they would have killed him there had he not started recording. Unfortunately, after arriving at the hospital, King Von was already in critical condition, and despite medical staff doing everything they could to try and save him, Von would ultimately be pronounced dead at 4:44 in the morning, with the media all around the world waking up to the news and reporting on his death.
According to GBI, rapper King Von and his group were at Opium nightclub before making their way here to Monaco Hookah Lounge, then to the parking lot where chaos ensued. Believe it or not, this all playing out right in front of 2 Atlanta police officers.
One of them was actually inside his patrol car or next to his patrol car with his blue lights on.
APD responding, attempting to stop the shooting, but it was too late.
It hit like the one officer that did respond. He tried to protect himself and stop what was going on.
The investigation on this shootout will continue. No officers were injured during this incident. According to GBI, this is the 82nd officer-involved shooting that they've been requested to investigate in 2020.
Lil Durk would seemingly find out about the shooting whilst being on IG Live and listening to his own revenge anthem Back in Blood, with the live ending abruptly when he realised that all of the comments were full of people asking about Von's shooting. After the news of Von's passing would be properly confirmed, Durk would post a tribute image of Von to his own Instagram, saying that he had lost his twin. Meanwhile, Asian Doll, who despite perhaps not being on the best of terms with Von at the time of his death, reacted to the news on Twitter, claiming that she wishes that she was dead. However, over in Baton Rouge, YoungBoy's brother Big B appeared to be in good spirits, as he would mock Von in an IG story, saying that it was funny that Von was the one who started the beef, dissing NBA YoungBoy. Now he's the one dead.
The joke's on you, you diss, now you getting repped on. Yeah. Yeah.
Meanwhile, one of YoungBoy's biggest ops, Lit Yoshi, who was still on probation in Florida at this point, would pay tributes to Von in a vlog.
Long live King Von, man. Old block boys.
Right. Von's friends and associates would naturally have a strong response to his death, seemingly taking it as a full declaration of war between them and the NBA camp. 600 Breezy claimed to be headed from Chicago to YoungBoy's hood at 150 miles an hour with the Steppers. BJ, who was still probably being treated for his leg shot wound, would also respond saying that their ops are now cursed and that they don't stand a chance against O-Block. Meanwhile, YoungBoy affiliate Michi downplayed these declarations of war, saying that real gangsters only slide in silence.
Right there, all ain't doing no hell, scary, doing all that capping, get on that, all that, man, real speak. Hey, if you go do something, man, do something. You don't come to the city and annihilate you in the city, man. You was supposed to slab out that, man.
In a bittersweet turn of events, just a few days after Von's passing, his album Welcome to O-Block would become his highest charting project ever, debuting posthumously at the unlucky number 13 on Billboard, ironically one position above YoungBoy's top album, which at that point had already spent 8 weeks on the charts after going number 1 on debut. What should have been a major career victory for Von was now unfortunately the final chapter in his short but impactful career as a gangster rapper. However, sadly for YoungBoy, this wouldn't be the end of the beef. In fact, it was only the beginning, because despite Von being the one who provoked both YoungBoy first by taking intimate pictures with the mother of his child, and Quando by punching him for no reason outside the Monaco club, the unintended result was Von being shot dead in front of his entire crew. And unfortunately for YoungBoy, Von wasn't just any rapper. Von was, in his own words, the most dangerous killer to ever emerge from O-Block. And Von was backed up by an army of friends, gang members, and killers who seemingly wanted nothing more than to slide for Von and get revenge. And they would be targeting Quando Rondo and YoungBoy as well as all of their friends. But the biggest threat would come in the form of Von's closest friend and mentor, Lil Durk, who just so happened to be the biggest rapper coming out of Chicago in a decade, with seemingly the power of the music industry, millions of dollars, and all of Chicago's Black Disciple gang members behind him. On September the 28th, 2020, YoungBoy was part of a large group of people filming a music video, apparently for his song Chopper City. YoungBoy was seen in social media clips around this time, appearing to tote a Draco whilst driving an old school Cutlass. And another shot where we would see his car is filled with green bandana waving 4K Trey goons. And this day, YoungBoy was live on his videographer Rich Porter's Instagram, recording himself an NBA Michi baby, toting firearms and rapping the song Chopper City.
Take a two. That what my cousin Michi say.
I'm talking five. That's about 5 million for my album. That's an easy thing. Put the camera on Rich, yeah? Put the camera on. Oh my like Jesus like that. 200 for my chain. Watch that.
Boy, stop playing, man. Stop playing, man. What's the
There were also other shots circulating on social media showing YoungBoy and his crew dancing around and toting guns in the middle of the street. YoungBoy would even pose with child fans while holding a rifle. They were back on Chippewa Street, YoungBoy's native hood, but unfortunately, not everybody from YoungBoy's home block was a fan of him or his gang-affiliated homies. At some point, somebody called 911 to report a large group of youngsters filming a music video and toting Uzis and AK-47s right in the middle of their street. The police would arrive at the scene, reportedly even taunting YoungBoy and his friends and family by quoting lyrics from his song No Smoke. And footage would later circulate, showing YoungBoy being put in handcuffs alongside around 15 of his friends.
I ain't doing nothing while you holding him like that. He ain't doing shit now. A motherfucking thing. Already.
With the news later reporting on the arrest and the huge haul of guns and cash taken from the incident. And YoungBoy's post-arrest mugshot would circulate soon after the arrest. But cops couldn't hold him for long, and within a day or so, YoungBoy was released on $75,000 bond and would be seen taking pictures with fans outside jail in the same outfit he was arrested in.
He about to come out your
Same here.
For my son, all right, yeah, that's right.
Give him a hug, Kaylee. Say thanks for the supplies.
Give me a picture.
And YoungBoy would go on to bail all 15 of his friends out of jail too, displaying the whole process on social media for the world to see.
Don't play with no damn. So they coming out right now. Post it your bitch. What you want to get locked up for, stupid? Look at Tyler.
Tyler had me in the back seat stand with money on the police. I tell you, fans shit. I tell you, the fans who y'all know? I tell you, I don't know him in 4K truck.
The cops would claim to have recovered 14 guns and $79,000 in cash, and YoungBoy would post on social media letting the world know that the cops had also taken the Chopper City music video footage away from him. The cops would eventually attempt to use this footage against him. In fact, the state would even use stills from the social media clips of YoungBoy toting a chopper in the street as evidence, and YoungBoy's attorney would take to the media to assure the world that his client was not guilty, and that he did not have a gun on him at the time of the arrest.
A broad daylight drug bust, landing 16 men behind bars tonight, including Baton Rouge rapper NBA YoungBoy.
It's crazy. Good. Yeah, the YoungBoy is in jail.
Tonight, his attorney calls this arrest ridiculous, saying there's nothing in the report that indicates he did anything wrong. They arrested several people, and there was no indication that he had any guns or drugs on him at the time of the arrest. The attorney vows his client will be found innocent, and all of this cleared up in court.
Unfortunately for YoungBoy, his cameraman would be arrested, with his gun, his camera, and the SD cards being confiscated. And YoungBoy was later charged with possession of the gun discovered from the cameraman, as well as from a nearby parked car, with prosecutors claiming to have reviewed the footage on those SD cards and witnessed YoungBoy toting firearms. Anywho, since bailing out, YoungBoy would be a free man once again, but as time passed, these legal issues would soon catch up with him. Apparently, after bailing out in Baton Rouge, YoungBoy decided to try and play it safe, moving out of the dangerous city that he came up in, opting instead to spend his time in Los Angeles suburb Tarzana and focus on recording his latest album, Until I Return. But he would still release music in this time. Until I Return was YoungBoy's fourth project of 2020, releasing on the 11th of November, just 6 days after the death of King Von. However, as it was so soon after that incident, there was no direct lyrics referencing Von's death, perhaps because everything was already recorded, finalized, and ready to release before the unfortunate events of November 6th unfolded. Perhaps the controversy around that event or the subsequent industry blacklisting played a role in this project performing worse than his previous releases. It would peak at number 10 on Billboard, effectively ending YoungBoy's hot streak of 3 number 1s and a number 2 charting project. But YoungBoy wouldn't be discouraged. In fact, following this release, he would ramp up production, continuing to drop back-to-back new songs and music videos. On November the 20th, he would drop a joint mixtape with Rich the Kid called Nobody Safe, which landed at number 43 on the Billboard 200 charts. And that collaborative album would be followed by a string of solo releases, hyping fans up for YoungBoy's next full-length project. There was the uplifting track How I Been, the murder anthem Green Dot, the inspiring track It Ain't Over, and he would also appear on major guest spots with other rappers, like French Montana on So Real and Tragic with Kid Laroi, which charted at 76 on Billboard. Moving into 2021, it would seem that YoungBoy was loading up something big, releasing the first single of his next album, fan favorite track Toxic Punk, in February, and another solo track, I Ain't Scared, in mid-March. Everything was all building towards the release of YoungBoy's hotly anticipated third studio album, Sincerely Kentrell, which was slated for a May release. However, YoungBoy's entire 2021 plan would come to a screeching halt suddenly at the end of March, as behind the scenes, the police forces in Baton Rouge and Los Angeles were teaming up with the FBI for a big bust on YoungBoy relating to his September 2020 arrest. On March the 10th, 2022, an indictment was filed in Louisiana charging YoungBoy with being a felon in possession of a firearm. This was all the result of the Chopper City music video shoot in September 2020. However, at this point in time, cops would have no idea where YoungBoy was, so 9 days later, they'd get granted a search warrant to track the location of YoungBoy's phone. This leads them to a property on Amigo Avenue in the Los Angeles suburb of Tarzana. This would apparently warrant the attention of an entire FBI task force who would begin to monitor YoungBoy's home covertly, waiting for their chance to swoop in. And eventually, they would see YoungBoy leave the home in his Maybach truck alone. At this point, officers turned on their police lights and took chase. According to documents, YoungBoy would appear to park the vehicle after seeing the sirens, rolling down the window and putting both hands out before hitting the gas. YoungBoy would take off, fleeing in the Maybach south on Amigo, making turn after turn. He would ultimately travel 2 blocks, escaping the sight of cops, before stopping the car and fleeing on foot northbound on Krebs Avenue from Red Wing Street. Footage would circulate allegedly showing the aftermath of YoungBoy running away from police, followed by a manhunt in the area, with cop cars sweeping through looking for where YoungBoy was hiding with helicopters and police dogs. YoungBoy would eventually surrender to police after K9 units were deployed, with YoungBoy apparently being found 2 hours after fleeing near the hedge line of a backyard of a nearby house. But, making matters worse, cops would find a loaded FNX 45 caliber pistol and ammunition in the Maybach behind the passenger seat, and they would also find cash and an assortment of never broke again jewelry. As a convicted felon, YoungBoy is prohibited from possessing firearms, and this would be yet another gun charge to add on to the existing warrant. YoungBoy was then taken into custody for the September 2020 Baton Rouge arrest and given a fresh new charge for the gun found in his car during the LA arrest, with YoungBoy's ex Yaya Mayweather telling the world that her day was ruined when she found out the news of the arrest. As a result of this incident, YoungBoy ends up in a Louisiana jail for most of 2021, leaving his team to pick up the pieces with regards to his music. But thankfully, his prolific recording schedule left them with a lot of material to work with. So while YoungBoy is in jail, big releases continue taking place. In May, they released the second single of the album, White Teeth, and in July, the third single, Nevada. All of his singles charted on Billboard and provided the perfect conditions for his album to release. So on September the 24th, 2021, YoungBoy's third studio album, Sincerely Kentrell, drops. The album's opening track, Bad Morning, is a standout YoungBoy song, and the inspirational anthem would captivate the wider rap audience, leading the song to chart on the Billboard Hot 100 Songs chart at 28. This was a tie with YoungBoy's previous chart record on the song Lil Top that also hit 28 on the Hot 100, with those two songs at 28 being YoungBoy's highest charting solo positions to date. Elsewhere on the project, YoungBoy was continuing his usual brand of melodic murder music. One particularly eyebrow-raising song is the track Forgiato. In it, YoungBoy seemingly admits to having used contract killers over 7 times, warning his ops that they will be killed before the end of the year, and claiming to be known in his town as the Murder Man. He would seemingly diss Lil Durk and King Von, rapping that rappers want him gone, but he's going to take their soul. He would also respond to Lit Yoshi's earlier comments, where he claimed that all the members of the NBA gang all claim responsibility for the same one murder.
Somebody died, the whole city rip on one body. That's crazy. If somebody died, the whole city shit or get on Instagram and rap on it. And ain't got nothing to do with it.
With YoungBoy rebuffing those comments on Forgiato with an outrageous chorus, saying that in spite of Yoshi's claims, he's had over 7 people killed, and rapping that once he's completed 10 killings, he will have to start counting his bodies on his toes. This was a bold lyric that sparked intense speculation about whether or not YoungBoy's claims of having had over 7 people killed was true or not. Some would argue that he likely has paid for 7 murders and perhaps even carried out some himself, while others would assume that it's all lies, suggesting that perhaps YoungBoy was just talking about kills on the game Call of Duty. Ultimately, at this point in his career, YoungBoy's name had certainly been associated with the deaths of over 7 people. If you simply consider his lyrics and the number of people whose deaths have been associated with him over the years, there's 9 suspected lives lost at this point. But that doesn't mean YoungBoy is physically or legally responsible for any of these deaths. Perhaps he's just trying to hype up the mystique around his music, or perhaps he truly does see himself responsible for close to 10 deaths at this point in his career. It would be an irresistible riddle for rap fans to try and unwrap. Pitchfork would summarize YoungBoy's album Sincerely Kentrell accurately, saying that it painted a portrait of YoungBoy as a tragic figure who blurred the line between fact and fiction, and ultimately saying the mystique around YoungBoy combined with the project itself was a brilliant creative body of work. And all of the mystique around YoungBoy and his past, combined with his talent, contributed to huge record sales, with the project being YoungBoy's biggest album debut of his career, selling an enormous 137,000 copies first week. This saw Sincerely Kentrell going #1 on Billboard, all while YoungBoy was still in jail. This made him the 3rd rapper in history to have a #1 album whilst in jail, coming after Tupac and Lil Wayne. But YoungBoy would go on to have back-to-back victories. As the month after Sincerely Kentrell topped the charts, in October 2021, YoungBoy was granted release on a $500,000 bond, allowing him house arrest whilst he awaited trial on his gun charge. The conditions were that he had to stay on a strict lockdown in Salt Lake City, where he had recently bought a home, and he would be set to live with a whole security team whose job it is to protect YoungBoy and enforce the terms of his house arrest. This includes a limit of 3 pre-approved visitors at all times. His release would reportedly take place on October the 26th, 2021. However, unlike previous releases, he would keep a low profile and not go live immediately after coming out of jail. He would reportedly be whisked away to Utah, where he would be held on house arrest as he awaited 2 trials. One for the gun case from the Chopper City music video shoot in Baton Rouge, and the other from when he fled the FBI when they came to arrest him in LA. While YoungBoy would be stuck at home, making the most of his house arrest and recording an ungodly amount of music, behind the scenes, his lawyers would be going back and forth with prosecutors, laying the foundations for an enormous legal battle. For some reason, YoungBoy would first face trial in LA for the gun found in his car, rather than for the original gun charge in Baton Rouge. His lawyers argued that he was panicking when the FBI swooped in, calling it a heavy-handed arrest, and claiming that he didn't even know there was a warrant for his arrest or a gun in his car. Investigators were apparently unable to find his fingerprints on the gun, which helped his position massively. Prosecutors even tried to use lyrics from YoungBoy's songs that mentioned firearms as evidence. For example, in the song Gunsmoke, YoungBoy raps lyrics naming numerous models of guns, like FNs, Glocks, and Mac-10s, which the prosecutors wanted to use to show that YoungBoy had familiarity and knowledge of the brand FN, the make of gun that was found in his car. They were also trying to use YoungBoy's NBA jewelry that was found in the car to tie him to the gun that was found alongside it. And they would also attempt to tie YoungBoy to a Philadelphia-based jeweler, Shine, who had made his custom NBA pieces, even bringing in lyrics from his song Life Support, where he rapped that he shops at Shine. But YoungBoy's lawyers argued that these songs were simply entertainment and not an admission of bad acts. In fact, YoungBoy's lawyers in this trial were extremely shrewd and creative in their methods of combating the accuser's attempts to use his lyrics against him. YoungBoy's lawyers even made the judges aware of a study carried out by Adam Dunham from the University of California, Irvine, where 2 groups of people were asked to react to lyrics from a country song, A Boy Named Sue by Johnny Cash, which came out in 1969. Lyrics of the song included, "Well, I hit him hard right between the eyes and he went down, but to my surprise, he came up with a knife and cut off a piece of my ear," as well as the line, "But I busted a chair right across his teeth and we crashed through the wall and into the street, kicking and a gouging in the mud and the blood and the beer." Now, they're not quite Bronx drill lyrics, but they're certainly violent lyrics. And in the study, the first group were told that the song was a hip-hop track, but the second group of people were told that it was a country ballad. The results of the study showed that the first group of people viewed the song in a negative light, whereas the second group of people seemed to have a favourable impression of the lyrics, thus proving a general negative bias towards rap, perhaps stemming from some kind of underlying racism or biased judgment of rap music as a genre. Now, using that study, YoungBoy's lawyers managed to successfully convince the judge that using lyrics from YoungBoy's songs against him was unfair and futile, so all the lyrics were thrown out. It was also revealed in the lead up to trial that the operation to arrest YoungBoy was apparently titled Operation Never Free Again, an insanely biased name that seemed to paint a picture of federal agents doing anything they possibly could to take YoungBoy off the streets. YoungBoy would eventually face a trial for this gun charge in an LA court in July 2022, and during the trial, Mo Ganga, aka Lawyer for Workers, truly had his time to shine, as the budding social media lawyer would attend the courthouse and do full-blown court reporting on this case, revealing to the world fascinating details related to proceedings in the courtroom. For example, Mo reported that a juror was dismissed for being a huge YoungBoy fan and telling the judge that she was planning to let him off no matter what. Mo would take to Instagrams regularly throughout proceedings to give fans detailed updates.
YoungBoy jury has been picked. There were 12 individuals picked. There's one alternate. There was a total of about 50 people who were potential jurors. This one guy said, I love YoungBoy. I follow him all the time. I'm definitely going to rule in his favor. He was excused. There were people who talked about being victims of gang violence that sent them to the emergency room and that they would have trouble ruling fairly in a gun case.
During the trial, YoungBoy would even be seen taking pictures with fans outside the courthouse where he told reporters that he was feeling confident.
Oh, that's your entertainment lawyer. Okay. Hey, man, you got a great legal team out here. You got top in the game. How you feeling? You feel confident, right? Look, I mean, look at your fans. Your fans are all out here.
And he would regularly be mobbed by fans on the way into the building for trial. Clearly wanting to show love for the fans that had come out to show support, YoungBoy would be seen leaving the courthouse and hugging his fans before breaking loose and running from the crowd. Towards the end of the trial, YoungBoy would be seen walking into court with his team, all the while fans would hype him up for a not guilty verdict.
Top 5 is Kentrell, and top is YB, is you, nigga. Do that, don't forget. You about to be free. As soon as they say not guilty, I'm gonna call my girl, tell her show your titties.
And so, on July the 15th, 2022, news of the verdict would break, with Mo Gangat going viral, being the very first person to break the news to rabid YoungBoy fans that had assembled outside the courthouse.
Everybody shut up! Just hold the camera up, don't lie!
We lied! We lied! We lied! Okay, what you gotta say?
The United States of America versus Kentrell Golden.
Kentrell.
AKA Lil Top. AKA YB.
Yes, YoungBoy was found not guilty on all charges related to his Los Angeles arrest, and he would be seen outside the court after this big win with his arm around his lawyer, and later posing for a victory picture with his legal team captioned Dream Team. Mo Gangat would even manage to interview YoungBoy personally outside the court, with YoungBoy announcing that he's got a big tour coming up.
Before this trial started, what did you think about your chances of getting the jury to return a not guilty verdict? I had some strong. I had a confident feeling about some things inside my heart, but.
You just beat the feds. What would you want to say to your fans about what's next for YoungBoy Never Broke Again?
Tour. What tour is next?
So, with that big legal win checked off the list, all that would remain for YoungBoy is to beat the original gun case that he caught at the Chopper City music video shoot in Baton Rouge. Now, YoungBoy has yet to face trial for this, and he still remains on house arrest in Utah as he awaits his day in court. But perhaps when the time comes, he will beat this case too, as his success rate in the courtroom is nothing to be trifled with. Or perhaps this might be the one charge that YoungBoy can't escape. For now, it's unknown. However, what is known is that even while on house arrest, problems would still mount up for YoungBoy. And despite his ability to diss his enemies and ops from Baton Rouge or Chicago without consequences, others wouldn't be so lucky. And soon, the rap beef that claimed the life of King Von would turn deadly once again, this time leading to the tragic death of one of Quando Rondo's closest friends. After going #1 from jail with Sincerely Kentrell and being released on house arrest in Utah, YoungBoy would get back to doing what he does best, recording and releasing music prolifically. In fact, he would drop project after project like somebody trying to speedrun their record deal. While on house arrest, he would drop a joint mixtape with his blood-affiliated industry mentor Birdman titled From the Bio, which charted at number 19. That was followed by the January 2022 mixtape Colors, releasing amid his public back and forth with Lil Durk. That project had the songs No Switch and Bring the Hook, which we discussed earlier, where YoungBoy extensively disses King Von and Lil Durk. On the project, YoungBoy would go a step further, teaming up with Quando Rondo on the song Gangster, with YoungBoy kicking things off by declaring that the industry doesn't like him because he's thugging and dangerous, an acknowledgement of the blacklisting that he feels he's suffered since King Von's death. When Quando got on the mic, he would use the opportunity to send some more shots at Von and Durk, rapping that his ops have spent $300,000 trying to kill him, but they failed, and mocking King Von, rapping that Lil Tim is the biggest op and that he stepped on Von because he doesn't fight. The project commanded the attention of the whole rap community, who were following the beef with Durk. But despite strong sales, the project Colors would narrowly miss out on the top spot, going #2 on Billboard, losing out to Disney's Encanto soundtrack, but beating Gunna and The Weeknd. Apparently, YoungBoy was disappointed that Colors didn't go #1, and the following month he accused his record label of not supporting him and warning others not to sign to Atlantic. Clearly there was some tension brewing between YoungBoy and the label he signed to all the way back in 2017 after he beat his double attempted murder case. His ongoing beef with Lil Durk was attracting the wrong kind of attention, and it would seem that going forward into 2022, YoungBoy would quickly release a wave of projects, seemingly in a strategy to quickly free himself of the obligations of his original record deal. In March, he would drop another collaborative mixtape, this time with fellow body-beating rapper DaBaby, a mixtape with the tongue-in-cheek title Better Than You. This was a nod towards the internet trend for YoungBoy fans to comment YoungBoy better on any content posted by other artists. As the months went on, the tension between YoungBoy and Atlantic Records seemed to get more and more intense. Reportedly, Atlantic were trying to re-sign YoungBoy in a huge $25 million deal, which he duly turned down. According to DJ Akademiks, YoungBoy wanted to own his masters, and the label weren't having any of it.
There was a possibility he would have stayed at one point, but they weren't talking, because labels don't really believe in giving you ownership. They believe in only paying you to own you. Again, YoungBoy wanted to partner with Atlantic. He wanted to, hey, listen, we partner, but I own my work. Atlantic said, we'll give you more money, you'll never own your work. Not over here.
And all of this label politicking was clearly having a negative effect on YoungBoy's mental state. In May 2022, a DM leaks where YoungBoy seemingly says that he feels he's headed to jail or the grave soon. But in spite of his depression and collapsing relationship with his label, he would continue to drop music. In June 2022, the NBA Crew released their group album Green Flag Activity, which predictably was back-to-back with lyrics from YoungBoy's crew, boasting about how they're armed and ready to kill for him. In August, YoungBoy would announce his 4th studio album, The Last Slimito, along with an Instagram post that seemed to suggest that this would be his last project with Atlantic, as well as describing himself as a $60 million man, sparking intense speculation that he may have reached a deal to re-sign with Atlantic for an enormous sum. YoungBoy would also put out a cryptic statement suggesting that he never finished school, but he's finally finished his deal with Atlantic and calling this his last album. It was widely reported that this was indeed his last album with Atlantic, and that 30-track project would release on August 5th, 2022. The The last Slimito came with the aggressive track F the Industry, where YoungBoy appeared to call out Lil Durk for conspiring to turn the music industry against him, rapping that he's still going to die even with the industry on his side, even rapping that somebody is going to get killed if they don't kill him first. YoungBoy was clearly frustrated at the turmoil and how his rap beef with Von and Durk had affected his performance in the music industry, and no doubt YoungBoy would be upset by this album's performance. The Last Slimito landed on the charts at number 2, narrowly missing the top spot to Bad Bunny. Still, an amazing debut, but it's likely that YoungBoy saw his ongoing failure to land another #1 record as part of the music industry's conspiracy against him. However, unfortunately, the choosing of sides in the music industry would be the least of YoungBoy's worries, because after releasing The Last Slimito, later in August, tragedy would strike. After King Von was shot dead during the fight with YoungBoy's artist Quando Rondo, it would appear that a bounty was placed on Quando's head by King Von's surviving friends and affiliates in the Chicago street gang The Black Disciples. The main person who wanted to see Quando harmed was Lil Durk. Quando had already survived one assassination attempt at a gas station in Waycross, Georgia, with Lil Durk seemingly hinting towards being responsible, and Durk would seemingly continue to allude to his plans to have Quando killed in his music. On June 3rd, 2022, Lil Durk says that he's trying to nail him, i.e. kill Quando, on Keep Dissing 2 with Boston Richie, going on to liken himself to King Von, rapping, "Bro got bodies, he's a demon child, I'm brothers to a devil." Sadly, the next attempt on Quando's life would be fatal. On August the 19th, 2022, just before 5:30 PM, while sitting in their SUV, Quando Rondo and his cousin Lil Pab would be the targets of an assassination attempt, as 3 masked gunmen would approach Quando Rondo's car whilst it was parked at a gas station near popular LA tourist destination the Beverly Center, where they opened fire. The police chief would later describe the shooters as having gotten out of a white car in dark clothing, opening fire and fleeing in what seemed to be a professional hit job.
They gassed up their vehicle, and as they were getting into their vehicle, a white car approached from the alley. 3 men got out of that car. They were in all dark clothing. They approached, fired numerous shots, and then left in that white car going eastbound in the alley north of Beverly. It does appear that we don't see any kind of argument or anything go on beforehand, so clearly these men came here with a mission in mind.
KCAL News would give viewers a good look at the alley where these shots were fired from, and Fox 11 News Los Angeles broke down the entire series of events, explaining that the shooting took place at the gas station. This was followed by an attempt to flee by Quando's entourage, where they drove a short distance before pulling over to seek medical attention for Lil Pab, who was hit.
So once that SUV is hit by the gunfire, they take off, they hit the gas, and they drive a few blocks away into West Hollywood. They wind up stopping over at Santa Monica and San Vicente, right in the very heart of West Hollywood. You know, over there by the sheriff's station, also by the West Hollywood Park. They pull over there because the wounds to the man who was hit inside the Escalade too severe. He's bleeding. They pull over. 911 is called. Paramedics rush in. They take the injured man who's hit by gunfire to the ER. He does not make it, does not survive.
This essentially created 2 separate crime scenes, the scene of the shooting and the scene where Quando's car stopped, with a KTLA-5 helicopter putting surveillance on both of those scenes soon after the incident. According to KCAL, a pedestrian flagged down sheriff's deputies who begun to help Quando and the wounded Lil Pab in a tragic scene that was captured on camera.
And that's where sheriff deputies were then flagged down by a pedestrian during rush hour on a Friday, right around 5:30. They found the victim with a gunshot wound and inside of a black Cadillac Escalade. Paramedics rushed him to the hospital. That is where we are told he died. His identity currently being withheld until family is notified.
Quando Rondo would be filmed by passers-by, breaking down at the scene and screaming in disbelief as his wounded friend Lil Pab is pulled from the car and given CPR, with this heartbreaking scene quickly going viral and being broadcast on most major news outlets.
Hey bro, do me a favor, somebody got shot, bro.
I'm pressed.
I get it, but just, can I get some space, please? Hold on.
Talk to my partner, okay? I'm gonna help you out. Hey, I know. What was it? I don't know. Look, hey, what was it at? I know, Maker. I know. What was it at? Driver. What was around the corner? Gotta make sure he's straight.
Unfortunately, Lil Pab would pass away in hospital as a result of his injuries, leaving Quando devastated, not just at the scene, but in later social media posts memorializing his close friend and cousin. Reporters would immediately attend the scene, reporting details and filming the scene whilst crime scene investigators continued to work. The news would later report that the police were looking for 3 shooters.
Right now, the search is on for 3 people who police say shot at a Savannah rapper, killing a member of his entourage. It all started at this mobile gas station at 5:30 Friday evening. LAPD says witnesses heard multiple gunshots, then watched a couple cars zoom off. 3 people in 1 car shot at this black Cadillac Escalade. It's unclear if those inside shot back.
They're getting gas when all of a sudden the windows are blown out by gunfire. They're under attack by bullets flying all over the place. See all those white evidence markers on the ground? Each one of those is by a shell casing. Gives you an idea how many rounds are fired. Police say in that alleyway the white vehicle pulls up, 3 men get out, and they start firing at will, blasting away, targeting that black SUV, the rapper, and his second person inside.
It ended at Santa Monica Boulevard. Deputies found it peppered with bullet holes and a shattered window. 1 man inside, a member of Rondo's entourage, had been shot. The 23-year-old was taken to the hospital where he died. A scene left with remnants of the fight, shoes left in the street, doors flung open. The suspects still on the run. We still don't know what spurred it all, but LAPD says it started at a gas pump.
It would be friends and associates of King Von who were celebrating the hardest following the killing of Lil Pab. Friends of Von would post pictures of him on Instagram following the shooting, with some going as far as saying, "Ain't no time frame on that get back," and posting pictures of Quando saying it should have been him. Lil Durk himself would go on to release numerous songs where he appeared to mock Quando for screaming "no" after his friend was murdered, with these lyrics painting a picture of Durk seemingly accepting personal responsibility for organizing this murder, like on the track Wonderful Wayne and Jackie Boy, where Durk rapped that his shooters told him they have someone's location and that he gives them the green light and tells them to go, and later looks at the news to see someone screaming "no," as well as in the track War 'Bout It with former YoungBoy ally 21 Savage, where Durk once again did an impression of Quando screaming "no" after Pab died, rapping that since Von died, he wants Quando and YoungBoy to come outside and go to war about it, and he would rap that when he saw Quando screaming "no" on the news, he thought it was a woman who set him up, ultimately ending the hook dissing Quando, asking "where did Pab go?" and responding that the morgue has him. Even OTF affiliate Lil Vani, who had gone back and forth on Clubhouse with Quando and Pab, would take to social media to mock Quando for losing 2 friends and saying when it rains it pours, and that Quando should keep his chin up. Von and Durk's DJ Bands would also mock Quando, taking to Instagram saying that he was signing artists to Belt to Ass Records.
Belt to Records, you know what I'm saying? We signed, man. Anybody could get signed, man. That's all you gotta do is play crazy out here. You get your signed, man.
The O Block member and friend of Von's, D Bands, would later be on live in O Block along with other gang members claiming to be smoking Pab.
Tell them who we smoking. We smoking what dude name? Lil Pab at the door.
King Von's friends would also take responsibility and use this as an opportunity to diss YoungBoy, and in the days that followed, O Block members would be filmed on their block, dissing YoungBoy and his deceased friends, Dump and Lil Dave. Despite the disrespect, YoungBoy would clearly be hurt by this situation, and he would post to Instagram twice in the aftermath of Pab's death, seemingly indicating that Get Back was on the way, saying that what he truly wants is coming to him, but it might take time, and describing the situation as sad and wicked. Just over a week after the murder, on August the 30th, 2022, Quando Rondo and YoungBoy would release a collaboration track where they opened up about losing their friends, with Quando dedicating the song to Lil Pab and YoungBoy paying respects to his fallen manager Dump. Quando would rap that people were testing him and now a rapper got killed, and saying that it broke his heart seeing Lil Tim get shot and then see him charged with murder just for protecting him. Elsewhere on the song, YoungBoy raps about King Von sleeping with his ex, saying that he just couldn't cope with it, and saying that he and Quando have been blackballed in the music industry because of what Lil Tim did to Von. This would give fans an insight into the pain that Quando and YoungBoy had gone through, living with the consequences of King Von's death as a result of their beef. But this would only be the first part of a much larger collaboration between YoungBoy and Quando in defiance of their enemies. Way back in February 26th, Quando announced a joint project between him and YoungBoy, a tape called Who They Hate. This never materialized, but later in the year that joint project instead transformed into the joint album 3860, named after YoungBoy's native 38th Street in Baton Rouge and Quando Rondo's past in the Rollin' 60s Crips in Savannah, Georgia. Quando would tell Rolling Stone in an interview about the project that the album was all about him and YoungBoy paying tribute to their dead friends. On November the 16th, 2022, the cover art and tracklist for 3860 debuts on Lil Tim's Instagram page, with that tracklist containing the bombshell announcement that Lil Tim is the only other rapper to be featured on the project. The 3860 mixtape released on the 25th of November 2022, and the whole album is essentially a big middle finger to Lil Durk and King Von's friends. Lil Tim featured on the opening track, I Swear, which in my opinion is an incredible song and shockingly underrated. The official audio of that has less than 1 million views at the time of writing, which is unbelievable to me, considering the fact that in many ways this song is the moment where Quando, YoungBoy, and Lil Tim all stand together and address what's been happening in defiance of their enemies. The song features a great and heartfelt performance from all three artists. Quando's singing on the hook is on point, and when Lil Tim touches the mic, he surprisingly delivers a solid verse where he addresses everything about what he's gone through, opening with bold lyrics saying he has all these bodies on his conscience, rapping crazy, catch him walking out a party, hop out, walk him down, seemingly referencing Von's crazy story whilst describing killing him outside of that nightclub. Lil Tim acknowledges that there is a bounty on his head and ending his verse saying that he has plenty of bodies, but that he's beat plenty of cases and is undefeated in the streets. I'll be honest, Lil Tim actually rapped with a really good flow on this track. His earlier songs didn't show nearly as much potential, but this song actually showed that he has it in him to be a genuinely compelling rapper. And then, to take the track to the next level, YoungBoy jumps in for a hard verse, singing to God that people are always plotting to kill him, but that he's always shooting back. YoungBoy would rap that he has a lot of money and is known for killing people. He seemingly references King Von's death after fighting Quando in a disrespectful manner, saying they smoked on him and he wasn't even strong, as well as bars that seem to snipe at Lil Durk, saying they know we poppin', tell 'em all make pain songs, and ending the verse saying that for years people have tried to kill him but ended up getting killed themselves. This was a very bold opening song for this album, and from here, for the rest of the tape, Quando and YoungBoy would rap back to back, track after track, speaking openly and bravely about what their lives have been like since Von died. There's the track It's On, which references sliding for Von, saying, do it for who? I bet you don't, with do it for Von being a line that Lil Durk and OTF members would often post or reference in songs. Then on the track Casket Talk, Quando raps that he is continuing to diss the dead and say F the ops, despite people trying to kill him like Tupac. He would rap that he's heard rumors that they're coming to kill him, but saying that he isn't scared because he's a gangster with his own money and killers who could get you whacked first. In the verse, he thanks Tim for saving him from Von, and rapping that people don't like him because they don't fight, they shoot. On YoungBoy's verse, he raps about people wanting to beef about their dead friends, and saying that people now describe him as a rapper slayer who has anyone that disses him killed. Then there's the song Want Me Dead, where Quando disses King Von and his sister, saying his favourite op dead and his sister talks too much. This was a reference to King Von's sister Kayla B tweeting about the situation when Quando and YoungBoy were going back and forth with NLE Chopper. Quando also raps that Lil Timmy rolled her brother up and stepped on him. He would diss Lil Durk, referencing his song Aha, rapping, aha, I don't think it's funny, we stepped on your brother, and mocking Lil Durk for failing to kill him and Lil Tim for an entire year. He would reference the shooting in Waycross, Georgia, saying they shot 100 times and missed, and he would diss Von again, saying that they're smoking weed from O-Block and that Von was a stepper, but he got stepped on. Even ending the verse by dissing famous Chicago set 300 and pledging allegiance to YoungBoy's 4K Trey crew. While in YoungBoy's verse, he would rap in reference to Von, F that rap boy, and saying that his hit squad are now trying to kill another. There's the song No Mercy, where Quando raps that he hangs with the killer who killed Von and that the people looking for him aren't killers, as well as rapping that his Lil One murdered one in the New Atlanta and that's why he has $100,000 on his head. Quando disses Von again on the song Loaded, saying he's steady dissing his dead ass and rapping, get your hat back before you say you gon' do me, a reference to Lil Durk and his crew wearing V-Roy fitted caps out of respect for Von. Then there's the great song $1 Million Kid, an amazing piece of pain music where Quando sings about the struggles of being blessed with $1 million checks from the rap game, contrasting that with the $1 million bounty that's been put on his head by Chicago gang members. This is something he mentions again on Trophies, where Quando acknowledges the $1 million on his head, saying that if they catch him, they're collecting $1 million, and rapping all these bodies on his conscience got him feeling like Timmy, as well as saying he stained a rapper. Elsewhere on the project, there's the track At the Top, where Quando raps about bullets coming through the car door when Pablo was killed and being traumatized from the incident. Then finally, on the song Heat Tucked, Quando makes a bold statement, rapping, "I bought the body from Lil Tim, it's both of ours, rest in P." 3860 was a bold and brazen statement, flipping the middle finger to King Von, Lil Durk, and whoever killed Lil Pab. Quando and YoungBoy wanted the whole world to know they were outside and not scared. The album was described by one critic as hard as nails with ruthless lyrics. But it would turn out that when it came to releasing this project, things behind the scenes were a little more complicated. Perhaps these lyrics were too ruthless, as YoungBoy would later claim that him and Quando mutually agreed that content on the album was too demonic and they wouldn't release it. According to a statement by YoungBoy, they begged the label not to release the tape, even going as far as to say that he spoke to religious missionaries who said that they will judge him for releasing this violent tape, and saying that the label is blocking his Stop the Violence message because they only care about making money. YoungBoy would go on to say that people are terrified of him and that he doesn't play. However, despite the lack of promotion and attempts not to release it, the project did come out and ended up landing at 62 on Billboard. Strangely, despite the earlier announcement that The Last Slimito was his final album with Atlantic, 3860 was released under Atlantic Records. It's unclear exactly why, but following The Last Slimito, YoungBoy dropped numerous projects which were technically classified as mixtapes and seemingly owned by Atlantic Records. There was the September tape Realer 2, which charted at number 6 on Billboard, and just 1 month after dropping Realer 2, YoungBoy releases yet another mixtape, 3800 Degrees, on October the 7th, 2022, which charted at number 12. And before that month ends, on October the 21st, 2022, he drops another project titled Ma I Got a Family, which charted at number 7. Then you get to November, that's when 3860 came out, and that went 62, even with the industry blacklisting. And then, to cap off YoungBoy's insane run, the final project with an Atlantic Records sticker finally arrives on December the 23rd, 2022. The Lost Files album, which is a release consisting mainly of a compilation of already leaked tracks, which still charted at number 45. Once the dust finally settled on YoungBoy's Atlantic deal, he was a free agent, and finally in a position to move on to his next move, later announcing a huge deal with Motown Records. Now, the details of this deal have not been made public, but DJ Akademiks would hint at having spoken to industry insiders who confirmed an 8-figure deal that was bigger than anything anyone in this generation of rappers could attract.
The deal has him getting paid handsomely up front. It's obviously an 8-figure deal. It's one of the biggest deals that anyone in his generation of rappers would be getting. So he's getting paid handsomely.
So YoungBoy had truly beaten the odds, getting out of his long-standing deal with Atlantic by dropping an ungodly amount of music in 2022. But it hadn't been easy. He was still seemingly having his career suppressed as a result of the negativity surrounding him after King Von was killed. And yet, while the industry was still on Lil Durk's side because he'd lost a friend to violence, Quando Rondo would still suffer back-to-back assassination attempts, losing Lil Pab and seemingly risking his life every time he went outside. And YoungBoy would ultimately be powerless to do anything about it, muzzled by the industry who felt he was too raw and too dangerous to be promoted like he used to be, and caged by the authorities who kept him cooped up on house arrest simply for being around firearms, even though numerous gangs wanted to see him dead. YoungBoy would ultimately find himself in an impossible position. Perhaps as a last resort, he would try a different approach, trying to shake free of his public image as the grave-digging murder man who seems to cause death and destruction in every city he goes to, instead trying to reposition himself as a gentle and traumatized casualty of the street warfare, and pledging to stop the violence and change his ways going forward. On the 6th of September 2022, YoungBoy drops his latest project, Realer 2. The project included typical YoungBoy murder talk, for example on the track Boot Up, where he appeared to sneak diss Lil Durk, mocking him for beefing him earlier on Instagram and Twitter, and suggesting that when he gets off house arrest, he's going to shoot his crew. Elsewhere, on the song Survive, YoungBoy acknowledges the Chicago gangsters who were after him, referencing the killing of King Von, saying that boy died playing with Quando. But the real showstopper on this project was of course the song Fresh Prince of Utah. This is YoungBoy's reinterpretation of the theme song from Will Smith's sitcom Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, with YoungBoy switching up his lyrics, painting himself as the Fresh Prince of Utah, where he was sent to live after getting in trouble in LA and Baton Rouge. The song was a booming, high-energy anthem laced with hard lyrics and quotables. YoungBoy would claim in thugged-out lyrics to be ready to put people in the trunk for dissing his deceased manager Big Dump. but it was the song's viral central catchphrase, "It's a parade inside my city, yeah," that had the song going crazy. This particular song became a favorite of Ja Morant, a player on the Memphis Grizzlies basketball team playing in the NBA. That's the National Basketball Association, not Never Broke Again. But hell, you would struggle to tell the difference, as Ja Morant would seemingly adopt this lyric as his personal catchphrase in countless media appearances.
It's a parade inside my city, yeah. It's a parade inside my city, yeah. Lord. It's a parade inside my city, yeah. Parade inside my city, yeah. Parade inside my city, yeah. It's a parade inside my city, yeah. Good to hear that. It's a parade inside my city, yeah. It's a parade inside my city, yeah. Coach told you, it's a parade inside my city, yeah.
So he jumps in the middle of it and he quotes a rap lyric. It's a parade inside my city, yeah.
It's a parade inside my city, yeah.
YoungBoy would even himself eventually be seen on social media encouraging Ja and his team to win games using his catchphrase. In fact, throughout 2022, Ja Morant would be seen rapping YoungBoy songs word for word, and rumors would circulate that the Memphis Grizzlies would practice to nothing but YoungBoy songs.
Coming here made me realize why he's #1 consistently, because all they do is listen to YoungBoy all day, from morning to night, from shoot around to the game. It's NBA YoungBoy.
It's been claimed that the Grizzlies would spend 90 minutes listening to as many as 50 YoungBoy songs to get hyped up during pre-game warm-ups, with all the players seemingly banging 4K Trey both on and off the court, with Ja Morant and Kenny Lofton named as the biggest YoungBoy fans on the team.
He said they listen to it all day from morning to night to shoot around to the game. It's NBA YoungBoy.
Yeah.
But I've heard that you're like Mr. YoungBoy. Like you have all the lyrics to every song.
Me?
Yeah. It's not true?
I mean, it's a couple that I know all the lyrics for, but
Who's started it here then?
probably, I think it's been a thing. Job, he listens to YoungBoy a lot, but Kenny Lofton, that's really Mr. YoungBoy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ja would claim in interviews that YoungBoy is the reason that they have won so many games. And as crazy as that sounds, when the Grizzlies had a great regular season, leaving them ranked #2 in the Western Conference with 56 wins, people were saying that YoungBoy was actually the man responsible, with deeper analysis suggesting that all of these players had actually connected and built chemistry through their shared love of YoungBoy's music, and that this shared interest actually made them a more cohesive and effective team. However, if YoungBoy gets responsibility for the positive side, he would also end up catching heat for the negative influence too, as in March 2023, Ja Morant would hit Colorado strip club Shotgun Willie's, yet another venue that seemed to be blasting nothing but YoungBoy anthems, and it seemed that Ja got a little too carried away and forgot which NBA he was a part of, deciding to let everyone know that he had that iron on his belt, flashing a pistol to his followers whilst in the club and broadcasting his fun to the world on Instagram Live. From there, 4K Ja would go on to rap a number of the YoungBoy's more bloodthirsty lyrics about having his ops killed, all while throwing gun fingers and gang signs. According to dancers who were there that night, the presence of the gun in the club terrified some of the girls there. And from here, we would see things go from bad to worse, as the media would begin reporting on Ja's antics, painting the parade inside his city as a $50,000 strip club bender, with leaked images of him getting a lap dance, piercing his family-friendly ball player image. Now, since Ja Morant is in the National Basketball Association, a corporate organization that generates literally tens of billions of dollars, this sort of behavior would be taken very seriously indeed. Look, the NBA just can't have their star talent running around, toting guns, throwing gang signs, and saying that they're going to have people knocked off. I mean, this is the NBA, not Atlantic Records, but anyway. The situation would begin to look much worse for Ja once the timeline of events emerged. Apparently, after beating the Rockets in Houston, the Memphis Grizzlies flew on a team plane to Denver, apparently landing in the city after midnight and heading straight to the strip club. This sparked speculation that Ja might have even used the team plane to traffic a firearm across state lines. Now, in Ja's defense, the clip of him holding the gun in the club was recorded on a return visit 2 days later after playing a game against the Denver Nuggets. But this would lead to an investigation by local police, as well as an internal investigation by the NBA, with the Grizzlies announcing hours after the news broke that Ja would be missing 2 games, with 4 more suspended games later being added. And an NBA investigation was launched to determine whether or not Ja had brought the firearm onto team premises or the team plane. But the trouble was far from over for Ja. In the midst of all of this, further reports would emerge seeming to allege that Ja had been involved in 2 violent incidents the last summer, with a 17-year-old accusing Ja and a friend friend of beating him and getting a gun out during a pickup game where Ja claimed that the kid actually threw a ball at his head. Ja was also accused of threatening security at a Memphis mall, and on the court, Ja was facing allegations by the Indiana Pacers that Ja and his crew aggressively confronted members of the team's traveling party after an on-court altercation, with it later being claimed that Ja and his friend had hopped in an SUV and spun the Pacers team bust, allegedly even aiming a red laser beam at them from their SUV, which the team believed could have been the red beam from a gun, with this incident actually resulting in Ja's best friend being banned from the Grizzlies stadium. I mean, that's crazy. After the incident, Ja would get into damage control, releasing an apologetic statement, vowing to get help and to find better ways of dealing with stress, later appearing in an interview claiming that the gun wasn't his, but also taking responsibility for making a mistake and painting himself in a negative light.
You at the spot, Shotgun Willie's. I've been there. You were holding a gun. And we both know how dangerous that can be. Whose gun were you holding?
Well, the gun wasn't mine. It's not who I am. I don't condone any type of violence, but I take full responsibility for my actions. Made a bad mistake, and I can see the image that I painted over myself with my recent mistakes. But in the future, I'm gonna show everybody who Ja really is, what I'm about, and change this narrative.
In the end, the Colorado police would decline charging Ja, and he would make an explosive post-suspension return, telling the world he is completely sorry and supporting his team from the bench initially, and then returning in style, scoring 17 points and 5 assists after hopping off the bench and playing for 24 minutes while wearing a bizarre mask with rainbow-dipped dreads. However, in the end, Ja Morant's recovery would take a tragic turn, as in May 2023, after YoungBoy released a new album, seemingly overcome by the realness of the latest murder anthem from the gravedigger Lil Top himself, Ja would be seen on Instagram bumping YoungBoy when suddenly, as if in some kind of 4K Trey trance, he reaches for another gun and flashes it to the camera. This repeat incident would be followed by a cookie-cutter apology statement, and Ja's immediate suspension from all team activities, followed by endless ridicule from social media pundits calling Ja NBA dumb boy, as well as pondering how Ja Morant could possibly be so stupid to throw his career away so recklessly. However, at a certain point, some people began pointing the finger at YoungBoy, suggesting that in fact, his music had been a bad influence on Ja. The coverage of YoungBoy's music highlighted a real concern about the impact and influence of violent gangster rap, and it made you wonder, if this music was leading a millionaire NBA player astray, then what impact could YoungBoy's music be having on impressionable teenagers with very little? We're talking about the vulnerable kids who might still be growing up in the circumstances that YoungBoy was in when he was a teenager raising hell. Over time, it seemed that YoungBoy himself actually begun to consider these things, and eventually he would make a major life decision and begin a journey to try and change his ways, and vowing to put a stop to the violence. On December 3rd, 2022, YoungBoy released the track This Not a Song, This For My Supporters. The song came with a cover art depicting YoungBoy standing next to graffiti that said "Stop the Violence," and it came with lyrics where YoungBoy expressed regret at the violent content of his music, rapping that he had been telling his young shooters not to kill, in spite of the fact that people in Atlanta want him dead after the killing of King Von. But YoungBoy would go on to urge those who want to see him dead not to continue the cycle, saying that he is now telling people to stop the violence and that he wants to see his enemies eat rather than beefing with him. In these lyrics, he says 12 bodies and 1 child dead, as well as another saying that he has counted 12 and that his ops aren't better than him. Perhaps it was another reference to the idea that he was competing in bodies with King Von, but YoungBoy would go on to seemingly suggest that his team of killers were actually disappointed because he wasn't planning to put more money on people's heads, and he would question why would his people let their broke ops pull them into a beef that could end with them dying, ultimately saying they're on their own. YoungBoy would rap on the song that he's seen plenty of killings and almost lost his soul to drugs. And at the end of the track, YoungBoy dropped some deep street knowledge, telling people not to listen to other people's definitions of a real gangster, and questioning if it's really gangster to flunk out and lose your life. He would claim that his ops don't know what it means to fight until the other person has no fight in them, and ending the song with the thought-provoking statement, "You are the person you're fighting." This is a line that I think is particularly deep, because I've said before, it's crazy just how much YoungBoy and his enemies like King Von or Lil Durk had in common, and it's tragic to see these young black men from difficult upbringings who became so-called gangsters and eventually music stars having so much in common yet hating each other enough to want to see each other dead. And the statement, "You are the person you're fighting," cuts surprisingly deep. YoungBoy actually goes on to accuse his critics of never having had to shoot a gun themselves, and despite the Stop the Violence message, YoungBoy vowed to kill all the demons who come to do him harm. In this extended confession of a song, we got an extended look at YoungBoy's remorseful side, as he painted a portrait of himself as a hurt young man who was tired of the endless war. But rapping to stop the violence in songs is one thing, but what YoungBoy did next would have been unthinkable just a few short years before. Despite the great deal of bloodshed on both sides of the Baton Rouge gang wars, in a 2021 interview with DJ Vlad, his biggest rival from Baton Rouge, Fredo Bang, would actually claim that he didn't want to see YoungBoy in jail and that he has no problems with him, even going as far as to saying if YoungBoy called him, he would pick up the phone.
We really ain't never had no problems. Like, if there is tension anywhere, I don't know where it came from. I mean, if he want to reach out right now, you know what I'm saying, I'll pick up the phone. You feel me?
Really?
Yeah, I would. I'll pick up the phone.
The following year, Fredo Bang would reiterate his feelings to Akademiks, claiming that he doesn't even have a problem with YoungBoy. They just don't mess with each other and that he's done dissing him.
I personally don't got a problem with him. It's more of, I don't have a problem with him. We just each other.
Okay. But y'all don't be dissing each other.
Nah.
Clearly, the two artists were maturing and moving forward from their past tension. And to further show his commitment to stopping the violence, YoungBoy's NBA camp would shock the rap world on the 22nd of December 2022, when it was announced that YoungBoy and Fredo had actually had a private phone call and agreed to put their differences aside, going on to announce a joint toy drive Christmas giveaway for the struggling families in their hometown of Baton Rouge, taking place on Christmas Eve, with Fredo Bang confirming in a Vlad TV interview that they had indeed spoke on the phone. On this call, they apparently decided they would move on from their conflict and try and do something positive in the community.
Okay, so you guys had the conversation, and the conversation went well.
Yeah. It was more so of us, how can we show that it's never been a problem from the start? So like, let's do a talk, let's do something for the kids.
Given the bloody history between these two and their crews, the idea that they would both be in the same place at the same time was near unthinkable. But the fact that they were willing to let the past be and try to do something positive to squash the beef showed an impressive level of maturity and level-headedness. That's something I rarely see in this kind of story. The toy drive itself would be organised, and Fredo Bang put up an IG story where he spoke on the proposed event, calling on other Baton Rouge rappers and labels to pull up and show love as well, urging them don't be too gangster for the kids.
Hey, I know it's hard times out here, so you know we trying to help y'all out, make sure y'all kids have something for Christmas. We also missing a lot of rappers in the city and rap labels. Trillion T, Mouse on the Track, Webby, Boosie, Level. We need all y'all rappers pull up and pass one toy out, you hear me? Don't be too gangster for the kids, you feel me? Pull up, pass a toy, give a smile, go about your day. I just felt like I should say this one more time, you feel me? Tag these rappers, especially BR, and my guys here. Tell them pull up, come pass out a toy. Do not be too gangster and too prideful that you can't come pass out one toy for a child, you heard? Pull up. Hatch, pull up.
Although YoungBoy was unable to attend the actual event due to being on house arrest, the toy run was a success, and the internet was soon flooded with footage and photos from the event, showing people you would have never dreamed of seeing together a couple of months beforehand. One of these was NBA pioneer OG33 and Fredo Bang being pictured in the same photo, and here OG3 is seen talking to Fredo Bang and TBG member Hotboy Dew alongside another NBA veteran Herm the Black Sheep, who can be seen in the background. Even YoungBoy's mother, Sharonda, was seen at the event moving safely amongst the crowd. The fact that this event went down successfully was seemingly a huge victory for the Baton Rouge rap scene and community, and it seemed that YoungBoy was planning to move forward with a much more positive approach to life. He was actually given a new life in some ways. He had beaten the first of 2 gun charges that were looming over his head, and he'd escaped his long-running record deal with Atlantic and signed a new deal on much more favourable terms with Motown. On the 6th of January 2023, YoungBoy releases his first studio album on Motown Records, I Rest My Case. That landed at number 9 on Billboard, and the day after his album dropped, YoungBoy would announce that he had married his girlfriend Jaslyn and was trying to build a more stable family life. The following month, on February the 1st, 2023, YoungBoy covered Billboard's Power 100 issue. Billboard also released a moving interview with YoungBoy where he opened up about the feelings behind his music. He expressed regret at promoting violence in his music, and he pondered how much violence his music may well have caused, vowing to clean up his act going forward. In this interview, YoungBoy would also explain that he is simply terrified of people and the problems that people have brought into his life. YoungBoy would be visibly shaken in this interview, and the reporter would also write about how YoungBoy began shaking uncontrollably when discussing the beatings he received in group home. He would also discuss inviting Mormon missionaries into his home to discuss the personal struggles that he had been going through, and expressing his intention to be baptized into the Church of Latter-day Saints, after finding so much comfort in speaking to the missionaries who visited him. It seemed like YoungBoy had truly gone on a journey of transformation, realizing the size of the influence that his music had on other people, and vowing to conduct himself in a more responsible manner going forward. He had seemingly squashed the longest running beef of his career, holding a call with Fredo Bang and overseeing the community toy drive that brought peace to these two warring factions. And I wish I could say that that's where this story ended, but unfortunately, YoungBoy would still be subjected to endless prods from his new enemies from Chicago. And despite all of his talk of stopping the violence, when YoungBoy found himself being provoked and antagonized by Lil Durk in front of the entire rap industry, he simply couldn't help himself, reigniting his war of words with Chicago's biggest rapper, which ultimately led to one of the biggest sales battles in modern rap history. Despite pouring his heart out in an interview with Billboard and vowing to stop the violence, it seemed that as time went on, YoungBoy would suffer a change of heart. On February the 17th, 2023, YoungBoy would appear in a sit-down interview with the Rap Radar podcast, where he claimed that he didn't want to speak on stopping the violence, and suggesting that people had been doing things that made him change his mind.
You also starting to stop the violence campaign, man. I like this. I like this direction that you're going in, YoungBoy. Can you talk about that initiative?
Yeah, I really don't want to get off into it.
Yeah.
Man, they got a lot of just some going on today, bro. This shit, bro. Yeah, just hey, stop the violence, man.
Right.
If you do something, just make sure it got a very good meaning, like the right reason behind.
Do something with intention.
Yeah.
Now, it's unclear exactly what the weird stuff behind the scenes were that made YoungBoy want to stop stopping the violence, but perhaps it had something to do with the fact that a few days before this interview released, Lil Durk's fiancée, India, was seen suspiciously wishing YoungBoy's son a happy birthday under Jana's post. Despite seemingly putting a stop to the violence in Baton Rouge by calling a truce with his former enemy Fredo Bang, this didn't mean that things had stopped when it came to his beef with Lil Durk and the Chicago Black disciples who were hell-bent on avenging King Von. In March 2023, members of King Von's crew from his native block O Block in Chicago were seen on social media, allegedly on the street that YoungBoy grew up on, North 38th Street and Chippewa. Clearly, the Chicago sets were looking to antagonize YoungBoy, but their next effort to prod top came from an unexpected source, Lil Durk's fiancée, India Royale. Now, Durk had actually been rumoured to have split up with India, though high IQ fans had their suspicions that this breakup was perhaps a fake marketing ploy. They had gone back and forth on Valentine's Day 2023, with Durk making a heartfelt post towards India. That was apparently not well received, with India rebuffing the show of affection and telling him to respect her boundaries and let it go. Now, a few months before, supposed DMs had leaked from NBA Ben 10 telling the newly single India that she should get with YoungBoy. The following month, Durk would be seen on his IG story saying that he will break people's jaws if he catches them in India's comments. On the 12th of March, Durk took to social media, vowing to save his relationship with India. However, it would seem that at least for the cameras, India was planning to stay single and live her best life. And in the following days, footage would circulate of her seemingly living it up as a single woman, taking a vacation to Bali, getting turned up with the girls, shaking her butt at the strip club. Posts would even circulate alleging to show India on vacation with another man. Durk would soon be seen on social media dragging his ex and saying, "These hoes are for everybody."
Man, get in your feelings about your hoe. Get out your feelings about all these hoes. These hoes is damn, you can't save them all, brisky. Can't save them all. You got yours saved, but trust me, I know like.
Spotting a good opportunity to throw shade on his biggest rival, YoungBoy would take to Twitter to comment on the situation, saying that he knows how it is when your ex-girlfriend turns into a demon. Now, this tweet seems kinda deep when you look at it carefully, because let's not forget, this whole beef was started by YoungBoy's disgruntled ex Jana hooking up with King Von, who even called himself a demon. But anyway, it would appear that YoungBoy had taken the bait. The following day, seemingly out of nowhere, Lil Durk's missus, India, hops on Twitter and unleashes a ferocious series of tweets dissing YoungBoy directly. She says that he was just a dirty lil bad kid and that he wasn't like he says he is in his music. She would then confirm, yes, it's YoungBoy she's talking about by saying, "I'm talking about Denthead." She would apparently go on to say, people think because they were dirty and in the hood, they were automatically gang. you wasn't toting no guns, you was food deprived. Now look, I don't have any proof for what I'm about to say, so you can call this cap, but to me, it's pretty obvious that this is probably Lil Durk tweeting from the account, because there's absolutely no reason why Durk's fiancée, who had no involvement in this beef, or any history of calling out other rappers' street credentials online, would suddenly decide to involve herself in an already deadly rap/gang conflict. Plus, the breakup with Durk seemed 100% fake to me, and as we're about to learn, Lil Durk seems hellbent on baiting YoungBoy into beefing him for promotion in creative ways. I also think it's no coincidence that India's tweets saying YoungBoy was never like that seem to mirror King Von's earlier statements about YoungBoy not being like that.
Boy talking about on this song, bro. He talking crazy on this one.
Oh yeah?
He ain't even like that.
These bizarre and suspect tweets would provoke a light-hearted reply from YoungBoy, who told India she's not going to play with him, along with a laughing face and a link to his own song titled Denthead. He's basically saying she can't make fun of him calling him Denthead when he's already been using this nickname for himself on songs. Now, despite the warnings not to play with him, India would clap back, saying she was playing. A little while after this, YoungBoy would be seen on a clip on social media rapping lyrics from his upcoming song Big Truck, where he asks a girl to let him feel them. Whether or not Durk and India's breakup was real, or just an elaborate ruse to generate clicks and trick YoungBoy into a beef, we might never know. But now, the stage was set, and the Stop the Violence movement was firmly over when it came to Durk and YoungBoy, and it would soon emerge that the two artists were about to go to war over an album release slot. At the end of February, Quando would tease his new mixtape, in a post saying that it's 1 month until he drops his new project, which he's dedicating to his fallen friend Lil Pab. However, a few days after this, Lil Durk would take to Instagram with a post of his own, saying he can drop a single and put all the attention on him, suggesting that Quando's release date isn't safe. With that, provoking a response from Quando Rondo, telling Durk to drop a song then. Quando would go ahead and release his new project, Recovery, on March the 24th, 2023. In my opinion, it's probably the best work of his career, an inspiring, heartfelt, and moving album. On this project, Quando let the world know that he wasn't going to let this beef or his recent losses stop him from doing what he does best, making incredible music. And Quando wouldn't be the only one, as on April the 21st, 2023, YoungBoy drops his latest album, the 33-track Don't Try This at Home. The album's concept promised a hard-hitting and gritty affair filled with violence and murder anthems which the listener definitely should not try and emulate themselves at home. This album saw a defiant YoungBoy dissing his rivals from Chicago from the very first lyrics on the very first track, Big Truck, with YoungBoy saying that they're just rapping while he makes things happen, and saying that he will destroy and kill anyone who disses him. On Cold Killers, he claims to have sent his killers to take the lives of 4 people. As well as rapping, he doesn't understand why he's at war with people who are just hating on him, and rapping that they caught someone trying to leave their show and that his ops want to kill him, but they haven't managed to. As well as saying that they caught 2 bodies and go straight from doing an actual shooting to music video shoots, and saying they gunned down a rapper. YoungBoy also seemed to mention Von's death with sneak shots at O Block on the song Chopper Doctor, mentioning O's in 2 bars before saying people from your projects are dying and that his hitters catch him, hop out and walk him down. On the song Run the Hood, YoungBoy censors a lyric, but we can kinda get a vibe of what he's saying, as he raps, "I'm on the phone with Tim, oh that's Von's killer, bitch dig your brother up," with this perhaps being a reference to the fact that NBA Ben 10 showed fans that he has Tim saved in his phone as Von Killer too. YoungBoy goes on to say that he knows that Durk is dissing him in all of his songs and that they're going to kill him, as well as dissing Von again, saying that everybody wants to kill him, but they have failed, and that somebody died because of him, and that he knows all of his enemies hate him. Then, in the second verse, he says that all of Von's friends saying they're sliding for him have a death wish and that they're next in line to lose their lives, as well as saying that if he didn't have a child with Jana, he would have shot her for messing with Von. He also had the aggressive track Gravedigger, where he says he makes murder music and kills both rappers and regular dudes from the hood. On the song Off the Lean, he threatened podcasters for even speaking on him, and dropped more shade on King Von, saying in Atlanta he won't fight, he's bringing out guns, and saying they boycotted YoungBoy after Von's death and got Lil Durk lit. On Slimito, YoungBoy would claim that a rapper started dissing him and that he got killed in response. Then, on his song I Is That, he proudly proclaims to be everything people say about him, saying he came up robbing houses, and alluding to the Von situation, saying once again he doesn't fight, he shoots, and saying he doesn't like his ops like D Von. A smart double entendre comparing himself to WWE wrestler D Von Dudley, as well as a reference to King Von, whose first name was Davon, as well as saying that he has plans to kill all the rappers dissing him. And then finally, on the last track, Like Madden, YoungBoy mentions people getting shot in fights again, saying, "In a fight with that fire, you're gonna lose. Despite this being a standout album, YoungBoy's sales would ultimately disappoint in comparison to his previous output. It would debut at number 5 on the Billboard 200 albums chart, getting trounced to the top spot by a frequent collaborator of his arch nemesis Lil Durk, Morgan Wallen. However, some fans were quick to point out that YoungBoy, someone who releases numerous albums a year, can't really be compared to other artists like Durk, suggesting that cumulatively, he's already outselling the competition.
NBA YoungBoy flopped with this Don't Try This at Home album, or did he? Now, it only sold 60,000 copies in its first week, but YoungBoy drops 8 projects a year that average 40K in first week sales. That's 320K in a year, which is no different than when an artist drops one project in 1 year and most times doesn't even come close to those kind of numbers. YB really is better.
A week and a few days later, Durk would troll YoungBoy, putting up a post saying that he's been blackballed by the industry, before flipping the script and saying, "Psych, you can't blackball a GOAT." Clearly this was a dig at YoungBoy, but it flew over many people's heads. It seemed that Durk was fishing for a beef with YoungBoy to promote his own upcoming album. But initially, YoungBoy wouldn't take the bait. Regardless, the beef would be reignited once again, ironically, by rap commentator DJ Akademiks, who would bizarrely come out on a stream to publicly declare that the supposed beef between Durk and YoungBoy had been squashed.
Today, look how far they are.
Now that beef is squashed. You ain't here?
Yo, Hack,
I'm
you
serious.
crazy.
Dirk and YoungBoy don't got beef no more. I'm serious.
Imagine.
Dirk and I might have forgot to tell the public that Dirk and YoungBoy don't got beef no more.
Now, I don't know where he got this from or why he decided to say it, but to anybody closely following the situation, it was clear this was absolutely false. Not only was the beef between YoungBoy and Durk active, but after the murder of Quando's cousin Lil Pab in Los Angeles, with Durk and his affiliates from Chicago seemingly claiming responsibility, frankly, this beef was as deadly and as active as it could possibly be, and it would appear that Akademiks had just reignited it publicly for the whole world to see. Soon after, the clip of Akademiks saying the Durk-YoungBoy beef was squashed would be liked publicly by Lil Durk's official Twitter profile, with many people believing that this was Durk and Akademiks confirming to the world that the beef was indeed over. Unsurprisingly, this misinformation had YoungBoy furious, so he would take to Twitter from his burner account, unleashing a scathing diss towards Akademiks and the music industry at large, saying that Ak is a bitch and so are his industry friends. But a couple of days later, the beef would intensify, but many casual fans would actually miss it, as Lil Durk would be spotted by paparazzi while shopping, where he was asked about the beef with YoungBoy. Durk would initially claim that there was no beef, but then dropped a subtle sneak diss, shouting out Morgan Wallen, who, as we know, had just obliterated YoungBoy in the previous Billboard rankings.
I mean, you know, DJ Akademiks is saying you and NBA YoungBoy's beef is done. Is that true?
What beef?
Oh, so there's no beef.
Beef who?
NBA YoungBoy?
Shut up, Royale.
After this, Akademiks would go live with an extensive reply to YoungBoy, saying that he was hurt by his tweets, but apologising for saying that the beef was squashed when it clearly wasn't, and going on to brutally diss YoungBoy for being too sensitive and vowing not to support his music going forward, telling him he's not really blacklisted in the industry and promising that he will personally blacklist him by not posting him on his platform for 3 months.
Damn, that boy Ak look hurt. There is a little bit of hurt. In the music industry, the most self-centered person is a rapper. The rapper thinks the entire industry revolves and works around them. They forget the other pieces that help things happen. Did they officially squash beef? That is not true. So if I'll apologize, and I'll apologize publicly, if my words or my nonchalantness or whatever this clip made anyone feel like it's actually squashed, like they agreed to squash it, that's not true. He tweeted out an hour ago, Ak, you a along with his industry friends, I love this. It turned out the same way every time. They boycotting and got that boy licked. Remember, I ain't trying to hear who got something to do with what. Nah, keep picking. Now I'm gonna address all these tweets. Let me now be very strict. NBA YoungBoy, you are not blackballed. Let me just put this out straight. I work at Spotify. I get Carl Cherry on the phone. They all admit you're on the front page of Apple Music. Trust me, I used to say you were blackballed, my nigga. You're not no more. I think he thinks I'm working with Durk. That's not true. If you think I've picked a side, you need to realize that you're turning the industry into the streets and you're in the wrong business. If YoungBoy don't want me to post him, I will definitely, if he wants to make that request, I'll oblige. I'll tell you the ones I'll agree to. If YoungBoy don't want me to post him, I'll make a statement. I won't post YoungBoy. For the next 3 months, mark today, I will post 0 YoungBoy on my page just because if you don't respect the fact that I was you, why the am I over here giving you 0 YoungBoy? Watch.
Now, Dirk would also seemingly disavow Akademiks' earlier claims that the beef had been squashed, posting to his IG story that he's not friends with anyone. And after his long stream addressing it, Akademiks would then come out to say that there ain't no friends in the industry, essentially ending his relationship with YoungBoy. During all of this madness, Dirk would announce that he would be releasing his latest album, Almost Healed, on May the 12th. In response, YoungBoy would attempt to give Lil Durk a taste of his own medicine, after Dirk's previous posts saying that he could drop and ruin Quando's release day, with YoungBoy announcing a brand new mixtape titled Richest Opp, which he would be releasing on May the 12th too. YoungBoy revealed the album's title and release date in a scathing tweet tagging Lil Durk and calling him a bitch, and calling his fiancée India, who dissed him recently, a nasty ass hoe, and calling Akademiks a pure fat hoe, and saying that Akademiks is now invalid as a credible news reporter from now on. YoungBoy would follow that up with another tweet aimed at Dirk, saying that he only gets a buzz when one of his friends die, and even one aimed at Dirk's girl India, saying tell him he better not drop, and following up his initial album announcement with a tweet atting Akademiks, saying that Ak is always talking about sales, but YoungBoy says that Akademiks can't manipulate him and that he has now embarrassed himself. He also says that he's dropping because all of his ops are hoes and they can't mess with YoungBoy because he's better. Akademiks would reply with a brutal tweet, where he claimed that YoungBoy was dissing him because his record sales were low. YoungBoy would also go on live teasing new songs from his upcoming project, extensively dissing Akademiks and saying that he doesn't care about numbers and that all that Ak does is get drunk and talk.
This Akademiks acting like I give a f about numbers. I just dropped 2 weeks ago. This finna drop. Stop it. No, I ain't worried about no numbers. They play lit bank, take lit bank. Your stupid drunk face ass. That's all you like to do, is to get drunk and talk. That was gonna get you off the flap.
In this live session, YoungBoy would tease Richest Opp's lead single and opening track, Bitch Let's Do It, where YoungBoy aggressively dissed Lil Durk and King Von, among other people, rapping "That rap boy ain't safe, aha," a reference to Lil Durk's previous single, Aha, dissing him and Quando Rondo. YoungBoy would also go on to diss King Von, saying that they couldn't even stitch up the hole in his body after Lil Tim shot him, another reference to the leaked photos of King Von's autopsy that showed a large hole in his shoulder. YoungBoy goes on to diss Von again, saying "Get his last rollout on a T," a reference to the fact that King Von had just released his Welcome to O-Block album in the days leading up to his death, a release which we now know charted just above YoungBoy on the Billboard charts at debut. The song also had lyrics seeming to mention the pillow left at the scene of G Money's murder, which attracted a warning from Fredo Bang telling YoungBoy to watch his mouth, perhaps an indication that this lyric had reignited his old beefs in Baton Rouge too. Now, we would actually then see a response from Dirk, who was simply focused on the fact that he was now trending. Dirk ultimately seemed unbothered by all of these announcements and threats from YoungBoy, taking to Twitter saying he hasn't seen anything. Dirk also seemed to acknowledge all of the support that he gets from Apple Music and shading YoungBoy for being popular on just YouTube, as well as suggesting that the disses motivate YoungBoy because he's unhappy inside, referencing his own album title, saying that he hopes YoungBoy is almost healed, as well as telling people to post the positive things that they're doing, likely a reference to Dirk's recent meeting with the new mayor of Chicago. When May the 12th rolled around, Lil Durk's promised album was nowhere to be seen. He would still release his inspiring lead single All My Life with J. Cole, a brilliant and positive song which ended up landing at number 2 on the Billboard Songs chart. But fans would be left wondering where was the Dirk album that they were promised. Meanwhile, YoungBoy delivered on his promise of a brand new project, releasing Richest Opp, which made a big splash, and YoungBoy would take to social media to brag about successfully pulling the reversal card on Dirk. YoungBoy had made Dirk move his release date after Dirk had bragged that he could do it to Quando, and in the end, YoungBoy would ultimately celebrate successfully pulling off what I guess he saw as a big W in the beef.
You push back, you better not ever try it again. Don't play with me.
The mixtape Richest Opp itself was extremely disrespectful and defiant, with numerous lyrics disrespecting Von and Dirk and painting a picture of YoungBoy as a ruthless killer who can do what he wants. On the song I Heard, YoungBoy seemingly mentions Von's death, rapping that he heard someone got hit with a blick and they couldn't do anything, and they weren't with it, as well as lyrics referencing a rapper who doesn't like him wanting to fight, which could possibly be alluding to leaked DMs from Lil Durk that came out around this time where he seemed to be trying to set up a fight with 6ix9ine to promote his album. YoungBoy seemed to acknowledge Durk's frequent dissing in lyrics on the track Father, and expressing his frustration that people now want to kill him when he was just minding his business. Then of course there was the controversial track F the Industry Part 2, where YoungBoy went in expressing his frustrations at being blacklisted in the music industry and calling out other rappers for uniting against him. YoungBoy would appear to threaten to use his money to arrange hits and have his enemies in the rap industry killed, just like he claims to do to his street rivals. He would also diss Drake, claiming that Drake told him personally that he can't work with him due to his existing friendship with Lil Durk. He would then go on to diss J. Cole, who was the guest feature on Lil Durk's single dropping the same day as this album, suggesting that J. Cole had told YoungBoy that he would do a song with him, but he never came through. In the hook, YoungBoy would essentially warn the rap industry that if they want to beef with him, they have to be about murder like he is. And YoungBoy would end the song taking aim at Houston rap legends, the Prince family, dissing J. Prince Jr. and Sr. with death threats, and claiming that because of his relationship with Birdman, he can use assassins from New Orleans to kill people, which appeared to hint that he had actually already used a hitter from New Orleans to leave someone dead in an apartment building. YoungBoy would also bring in one of his most prominent members of his crew for the only feature of the mixtape, with the track Chopstick featuring his loyal hitter, NBA Ben 10, who rapped declaring openly from his very first bar that he is the one arranging hits for YoungBoy and that he will leave people dead for him same day. However, on top of the murder music, there was still some space for self-reflection on this project. On the song Slimes Go Where I Go, YoungBoy appeared to have made peace with the prospect of being killed himself, painting a picture of what actually happens after his rivals find success in taking his life, rapping that his oldest son will be in charge of his empire and that he expects his shooters to avenge him as he's laid to rest covered in diamonds. In another lyric, he recounts lying to his grandfather and claiming that he didn't do any of the violent acts that he was rumoured to have been involved in. Elsewhere, on the track Channel 9, YoungBoy would once again muddy the waters between facts and lies, admitting that he's the murder man, but then going on to claim that he will never admit it. On the last track, I Want His Soul, YoungBoy raps that his cousin Scully shoots people in the head and that he wants to do the same, as well as dropping a lyric referencing his earlier line in the song Forgiato, where he claims that if he kills another person, he has to start counting bodies on his toes, seemingly confirming that he is now indeed counting murders on his feet. And he would appear to follow this with another bold lyric, where he seemed to say outright that 12 people have died messing with him, and that when he catches his next body, it will be 13. Now that was an interesting way to end that album, and I think it's an interesting place to end this video.